people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself, it called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Declaration.
You may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you're helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
Declare your independence with Ernest Hancock continues after the news, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with the SNLS Network and listeners like you. Online at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,562, silver at $18.12, and Bitcoin is trading around $8,132. Today's gold, silver, and Bitcoin prices are brought to you by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven. The Liberty Beat and Brave Botanicals believe so strongly in the power of kratom, we're giving it away for free. Just go to libertybeat.news/free kratom. This is the Liberty Beat at snlsnetwork.com. In the news, while corporate media in the United States has been fixated on events in Iran, specifically the recent admission from Iran that Ukraine International Airlines Flight 752 was accidentally shot down by its military, other equally, if not more important news, has largely been ignored or glossed over during the growing tit-for-tat conflict between the two countries. According to Tolo News, a drone strike targeting a top commander in the Taliban killed him along with around 60 civilians in Afghanistan. Locals have called the attack that involved 4 armed drones a mistake, despite officials from Afghanistan's Ministry of Defense reporting that the strike was coordinated between U.S. forces and the Defense Ministry. The Pentagon's confirmation of the attack was published in the U.S. military publication Stars and Stripes, in an article titled "Airstrike in Western Afghanistan Kills Leader of Taliban Splinter Group. May have killed civilians." Ever wonder where we find all the news to report right here on the Liberty Beat? Visit snls.news to get the world's most censored media published all in one place. Save yourself from the endless time spent searching for reliable alternative media. SNLS News makes it quick and easy. No ads, no clickbait, just raw headlines, 24 hours a day. Visit snls.news and get informed today without the corporate media spin. Your news now continues. A Walmart supercenter in Salem, New Hampshire, has been the first store to test a new kind of technology that will use robots to collect grocery items for online order fulfillment. Activist Post reports that Walmart is one of the largest companies in the world by revenue, with at least 2.3 million employees in the U.S., and has seen rapid increases in labor costs that are forcing unwanted margin compression. The solution offered by C-suite executives has been a pilot program of automating a warehouse in Salem with the goal of deploying robots to eliminate employees and save costs. The new robot is called AlphaBot, and it's 10 times faster than a human worker. That would increase productivity in the warehouse, driving down the need for new hires during peak holiday periods when orders increase. Alphabot operates inside a 20,000 square foot warehouse that retrieves refrigerated and frozen items ordered for online grocery. A court in Guatemala City released indigenous journalist and activist Francisco Lucas Pedro on January 3rd, after he spent 13 days in detention since his arrest. According to the police, he is accused of terrorism and arson, but human rights groups say the arrest was illegal. Activist Post reports that back in 2012, a criminal court had issued an arrest warrant against Lucas, based on a complaint made by World Bank founder Esoner Hydraulia Energia. This is the Spanish firm behind Hidro Santa Cruz, the company that wanted to build a controversial water dam on the Quambalam River, considered sacred. Lucas was an active participant in the civic movement against the dam, whose construction the company eventually canceled following 8 years of protests, court battles, and international pressure. Support for the Liberty Beat is brought to you by the Homestead Guru. The Homestead Guru is an educational website offering tips, tools, news, stories, and commentary on everything homesteading. Topics include green homes, gardening, animal husbandry, do-it-yourself, home remedies, alternative energy, survivalism, unschooling, and more. Those details are found online at thehomestead.guru. This is the Liberty Beat, powered by the SNLS Network at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Is your child defiant, independent, annoyingly inquisitive? After a long, hard day of following the rules, who wants to deal with troublesome kids? 49% of children suffer from oppositional defiant disorder, or ODD. Symptoms of ODD include independent thought, rampant creativity, and failure to submit to authority. But now there's a solution. The good people at Pilfer can help you with their time-release, once-daily capsule, Compliacin. Your child won't be able to form his own opinions, let alone express them. It maintains your child's ability to go to a state-run school and perform simple tasks around the house. You won't have to worry about parenting, and the school won't have to deal with your kid asking questions. Compliacin. You'll go from this.
Quit telling me what to do! Quit telling me what to do! Quit telling me what to do!
To this.
Good morning, Mother. I love going to school. And this week we're learning all about how the government is our federal family and they're here to help us.
Compliacin. Talk to your school psychiatrist and ask for it by name.
And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Today, let us make them remember. We are not afraid!
Oh, we're not afraid. We know that. Dr. Frank's on time. Is he there? Are you there, Frank? No, he's not. Because he doesn't have his mic on. Your mic's not on, Frank.
There we are. We are.
Even when you're here, you're not here. It's amazing.
It was on mute. There were no peacocks in the way this time. That was good.
No. All right. Let's get right to it. Trump report this time. All right. Let's go ahead and we did a marathon like Thursday or something. It was, we went like 4 hours and something just here. It was a 6.5 hour show. And, Frank's like going, yeah, there's nobody listening. I go, yeah, they are. They're in their shops. They're on their tractor. They're whatever. Sure enough, here come the emails. Yep, I'm still here. I'm going, see, told you.
All right. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, it was the takedown, the Ernie Frank takedown, to check it out. So, hey, with all that said, I wanted to ask you because I think there's obviously there's so much to go over. Obviously, with Trump, in some ways, it's been somewhat of a slow week, if you can call it a slow week. However, I think the reason it seems slow is because I think the biggest story that's not being covered too much. I think it's starting to, and I want to ask you about what you've covered on Freedom's Phoenix, are the protests in Iran. Well, what sort of coverage have you had? Have you ever had any guests on the show about that? Because I think this is
we're probably about ready to start having guests, but I let it flush out because I don't believe all their stuff in the beginning anyway. But the two main themes that we've had on is one, the protest against the regime there in support of Trump and them not walking on, American flag out of respect, and the Israeli flag.
And the Israeli.
So you know that's staged. But then, so I'm all right, whatever. And then you have, what else is going on? There was another story, but I can't remember what it was. But yeah, we were covering, the counter to the regime in Iran protests. Is that what you're talking about?
Exactly. I mean, all this happening over there, and of course, long-time listeners know we try to, at least for myself, I try to inject more of the international politics, and this is one where I think they're kind of colliding because even the conventional news is starting to be forced to address this, and there's so much kind of wrapped up into this. You have the mainstream media that is now trying to deny or not even report this. Now, of course, normally American media does not report any of the international issues simply because it's international. That's been one of my problems with America is that, for decades, we'll sit there and export our culture, we'll export our military, we'll export our debt to the rest of the world. But yet for some reason, we never seem to explore the rest of the world or understand them or speak other languages. Anyway, it's been one of my little critiques, of course, of Americans in general. I think I've always said if there was ever one law that I would pass, God forbid, it would be that every student, every high school student before they graduate or college student would have to be overseas at least for a year, some sort of not missionary work, but really just spend a year overseas somewhere. And I think that would change so much with Americans as far as foreign policy and understanding American culture. But anyway, that being said, it's usually not covered anyway. But on top of that, the media does not want to cover it because it doesn't fit their narrative of course, that Iran is bad, and Trump is bad, and Trump's making things worse. There's kind of a theory out there, and I'm curious about your thought on this. Is Trump really just a dumbass monkey, or is this guy sort of like Captain Spock from Star Trek, and he plays 4D chess? It's like does
I
Trump
think he has some strings to his him being a puppet to somebody. There's some of the stuff.
Oh, there's the puppet theory. Why that was the one.
Well,
okay.
No, I mean he's doing the work of something for something. I don't know. I think he's art of the deal. I think this whole thing is art of the deal. He's art of the dealing.
Well, it's just like here you have Trump, wind up showing some strength. Now, of course, some people would argue, and I know from the libertarian point of view that you shouldn't you should not be involved at all. And of course, that was sort of our 5-hour debate last week about this sort of thing.
Assassination is not going to do well.
But that is that said, I'm not in any way trying to drink the Kool-Aid on this, Ernie. I'm just trying to point out that Trump has this ability that even some libs kind of admit. It's like the guy will walk and slip on a banana peel and do 5 backflips like some kind of acrobats, and then always land on his feet. And the thing is, he does this bombing over there, and you can sit back and complain that it was right or wrong. And Iranians turn around and probably accidentally shoot down that plane, and now you have these protests where both two things at once. You have the number one terrorist leader get killed, which is probably the one person the Iranian youth were actually afraid of. He dies. So therefore, the hammer winds up being, the hammer gets taken out. At the same time, international support and an international sympathy is finally with the protesters because of the down plane. So all of this put together, you're seeing that this uprising, in a sense, and this uprising isn't just because of the plane. I just want to point out, these Iranian protests have been going on for the last year or so, but they finally caught a lot of steam with this. And finally, with the media attention, there's a real chance that this Iranian regime will actually go down and implode. And one of the signs is that the Iranian government just a day ago wound up issuing an apology, saying we're sorry of what we've done. Of course, they've been shooting and killing their protesters the last couple of days, but when they come out and finally start apologizing, saying, "Hey, we're kind of sorry, we kind of screwed up with the plane, just trust us," and this kind of thing. When they start to back down and apologize, that's astounding. That usually shows the end times are there for this regime. And if that happens, whether Trump engineered this or not, which I don't think he did. I don't think he plays the CIA back channel deal. Not saying that it couldn't happen.
No, that's not
Trump's
on
deal.
For a while.
Exactly, it's been on for a while, but I don't think that the recent move was underhanded. I think Trump is pretty, I guess ballsy in your face, and he shoots. He winds up shooting these missiles, makes the line clear about the embassy, which is what we talked about last week. And yet, I think the cards have been played, and I think it's going to play out where the actual regime may fall, and this may be one huge feather in the cap of Donald Trump going into this election. That's kind of my point. I mean, I'm not trying to justify violence.
Well,
I can see invading countries.
Well, this is what they say. He goes, it's not about regime change. It's about behavior change. We don't want to change the regime. Far be it from us to do that because we're against regime change, but we definitely want the regime to change their behavior. Behavior change. Well, when he says that, that means the regime's about done. I'm going, yeah, okay. We're not calling it regime. We're not doing the regime thing. I don't do regime change.
By the way,
he thinks it's about ready to happen, so they want to call it something else.
I don't know if you happen to hear this. I don't know if I'm getting this exactly correct, but supposedly the number one tweet ever in the Middle East, I guess, the number one tweet ever spread around was just recently, which was Donald Trump. And Donald Trump tweeted his support for the protesters in Farsi. Number one tweet ever.
Whoa.
Yep.
Whoa. If you got support, for what he wants to accomplish and do, and they can make a change there against the clerics. Man, this will be. I don't think we should be there. This is not our job. From the sixth letter of Captain Mark. A pirate's life is characterized by voluntary interactions. Unfortunately, the Crown presses everyone into involuntary servitude. Landlubbers believe slavery was abolished years ago, but the Crown still claims to own us when it crimps us into service against our will. Given sufficient ambition, it would gladly draft thousands of hapless victims to kill or be killed. It's simply slavery by another name. Landlubbers are routinely commanded to serve the so-called justice system in jury duty. But before you swell with civic pride, consider that how you feel is irrelevant to the Crown. You will appear as ordered or face punitive measures. The Crown insists that you participate in your own oppression. A jury summons provides pirates with a unique opportunity to obstruct injustices. A juror can vote not guilty, even if it's proven the law was violated. A juror can acquit for any reason at all, and not even a judge can reverse that verdict. Receiving a jury summons is basically winning the sedition lottery. But if you reveal that you know this during jury selection, you'll probably be dismissed. If the Crown foolishly crimps a pirate into jury duty, it behooves the pirate to conceal their intention to nullify unjust laws. If a master takes 100% of your labor, it's called slavery. But if they only take 50%, they call it taxation. A difference of degree, not of kind. Whether the Crown claims a fortune or a cent is irrelevant. Most of all, a slave owner desires contented slaves, meaning thoughtless ones that accept their bondage. These house slaves see no contradiction in being drafted in a war to end slavery or summoned to a jury to prosecute tax evasion. An ideal slave knows no higher call than the master's will. The Crown's highest ambition is that its slaves revere the authority that subjugates them. But the Crown does not own me. I will not surrender my time and treasure to the Crown's ambitions. Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com. Okay. Bitcoin Cash is up like 330 or something now.
Uh-huh.
And it was 173 like less than a month ago. 173.40 divided by, what is it? 330. Okay, that's 52% increase in a month, and it was like 25% today. You know, I mean, that's like somebody's making a return on that. And of course, I knew to buy it if I had a bunch of money, I would. But you know, when it was 170, I'm going, oh, gimme. All right. One thing I wanted to make sure we went on is this John Huber's investigation, Clinton Foundation, Uranium One deal. And they go, nothing to see here, nothing illegal. What do you know about that?
Not much to be chatting detailed today about. No.
All right. Well, it's of course it's not illegal. The Clinton administration of Bill Clinton is the one that did the deal.
Right.
You know, they knew what was up. So
I mean, when we've done details with Uranium One for those that are kind of new to the show, and we've done the whole spreadsheet from the Epoch Times. I mean, that whole giant spreadsheet, the flow chart was all about with Uranium One, of course.
Yeah, but it's just well. Also, you have Trump administration having a never Trumper guy in charge of the FISA warrant. Something. I mean, to redo it or something. I'm not sure what his plan is. Keep all your enemies closer or something. Here, we're coming back.
On Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
To be a part of the show, call 602-264-2800. 602-264-2800. And now, Ernest Hancock.
All right, air guitar. Hey, who does that better, huh? Air guitar and the radio. All right, there's one, John Huber's investigation into the Clinton Foundation pay for play, and this is all about Uranium One, and Frank and I have detailed this in past shows back when. But they go, nothing to see here. She didn't do anything illegal.
Yeah.
Probably not. I mean, we made it legal to sell our uranium and Russia buy it, and Secretary of State can sign off.
It's legal.
I signed it. Secretary of State signs here, and it's done. I did it, and it's done. So what was illegal about that? Can I do it? Okay, well, I did it. Now what? What are you gonna do about it? So I'm sure it was absolutely legal. Well, probably not. They could find some technicality if they wanted to or something, but I don't think they're motivated. So we'll see. Okay, continue with your Trump report, Frank. Go. You don't want to talk about Hillary. It's all good.
I can hear you taking a drink of a nice strong Manhattan.
Okay. This is one thing I want to tell. All right, everybody, take a look at this. Bitcoin Cash. All right. You look at here. What was it? Less than a month ago, it was $173 here. Yeah, $173.40. Less than a month ago. December 18th or whatever. What was this? Yeah, December 18th. It was $173. And what have we been screaming? I'm going, buy some Bitcoin Cash, because here we go. What are we at now? It's 330. It was a 52% increase. Hell, 20-something percent of it was today. It's 330 or something. So I'm going, yep, something's happening. And silver, what are we going to do? Look at silver here. What are we looking at silver? 1784. So we were freaking out when it hit down the 14s and so on. $3 or $4 in silver is a lot.
Yeah, so it's quick moves, yeah.
And then gold is, getting up towards highs here. It's over 1,500.
I'm halfway kidding.
Bitcoin 8,500. Whatever.
I was going to say that what I'm about to say, it sounds like I'm just being just farcical, but I'm halfway kidding. I could see Donald Trump issuing his own crypto. Can you imagine a Trump coin? I mean, I could see him doing that.
Okay, let me tell you what I see with crystal 2020 hind foresight clarity certain is that Frank would buy one. Okay, I know that. There's no way in hell that ain't happening.
Yeah.
So he's like, it'd be on his screensaver. Okay, I can tell. That is one thing. Do you have like a Trump Christmas ornament box?
I have like 3 of them. Yeah,
I know. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, well, I showed you on my tree. You're just setting me up there. Yeah, but by the way, for you guys that don't know, on the Trump official site, every Christmas they issue now, and this is good. I mean, it just gives you a sense of what Trump's marketing is. And to be serious, guys, I like to show Ernie. Just to watch his blood pressure go up. But also, it's interesting because we both are interested in how this person is redefining politics and with marketing and the sort of ideas that this guy has. It's astounding. Anyway, he's issuing, if you guys ever go to the Hallmark store, Hallmark has like their annual Christmas ornaments. They'll have like the 2015 line, 2016 line. And, I used to collect the Star Wars ornaments. Yeah.
I'm 2020 woke.
So Donald Trump, seriously, if you donate to his campaign, you can actually wind up getting one of his official ornaments, and each year it's a different ornament. So it's like they have the 2017 edition ornament, 2018, 19. So like the first year was kind of like a glass ornament with the White House that would illuminate behind it, and then this last year was an actual metal, like a tin metal Trump hat, the MAGA hat. It's an actual with little.
Oh, was it metal? I thought it was like glass or something.
No, it was metal. Okay. It's like a quality. The thing is, these are quality.
Yeah, no,
it's a quality old-fashioned ornament.
It's like an ornament. You get one of those big bulb, 2.5-inch ornaments you put on the tree. Well, it's about that size, but it's a red "Make America Great Again" ornament hat. I mean, It's cute.
It's funny as a schism. It's quality, and it just shows you what this guy's able to do with marketing between the straws, selling the straws. Plastic straws is proudly made with plastic with the Trump logo on there. I mean, it's just the guy who's selling wrapping paper. I mean, these sorts of things are so cheap to do. And yet, was able to bring in money. And, of course, the ads I keep getting for donation have never stopped with Trump's people. Anyway, with that said, we don't get back to the tweet. So we mentioned that the number one tweet ever in the Middle East, apparently, is the recent Donald Trump tweet in Farsi supporting the Iranian protesters. That's astounding. Also, just today, one of the, I think it's top trending or towards the top trending, was a tweet from today, which is, Nancy Pelosi is fake news. Again, Nancy Pelosi is fake news, which I know is probably not too much of an earth-shattering development for this audience. But the point is that normally what's trending on Twitter is usually some liberal thing. But to wind up having this Nancy Pelosi's fake news on Twitter, that's pretty interesting. And the reason it's trending, we think, is not just conservatives. It's many moderates and Democrats that are starting to throw in the towel with this person and the entire Democrat machine over what's happening in the Middle East. And the way that she keeps spinning, I mean, there's many reasons for fake news with Nancy Pelosi, but what seems to have set it off is basically the constant denials that what's happening in Iran with these protesters is a good thing, and trying to spin it that it's Trump's the bad man. Now, I know with the libertarian audience here, I know the whole issue is we shouldn't have been there overall, and I get all that. But for what it is, to show the Democrat establishment turning on her, it's a twofer. It's a 1-2 punch. The first was her handling of the impeachment and not turning it over and basically losing all the capital and leverage that they thought they had over the president, which they never did anyway. But they don't even understand that. They feel so betrayed by how she's handled that. Now that she's forced to turn the impeachment papers over, it's now going to force a trial. We'll see what McConnell does.
How is she forced to turn them over? Just by pressure? Or?
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, political pressure. I mean, she's kind of boxed in there. So that's what I mean.
Well, I saw a thing. What was I watching?
Wait. I mean, just to finish up, is that she's by doing that, it's now put the leverage back onto the Republicans, which means if they decide to have a trial and actually draw it out, like have a real trial, it means now they're going to be benching Senator Sanders and Senator Warren because they're going to be forced to have to sit in during the entire trial and not be out there campaigning. At the same time, this whole trial is going to be about Hunter Biden and Biden, which in Biden's their head guy. That means we're taking out Warren and we're taking out Biden and we're taking out Sanders all during this thing, depending how long they want to draw this out. And the only person left that can still campaign, that's still quote unquote relevant, is Pete Buttigieg. And so he's the guy that the establishment's trying to prop up.
See, that's how good Frank is. He knows how to say his name.
Well, I possibly. But anyway, that's kind of the setup. So the Democrats are so angry over that setup because this whole thing's backfired that it's going to turn around. Which, I mean, no surprise. But I mean, now they're starting to recognize that she's tanked even the support for their own candidates, that no one's watching the primary. So they're angry at Pelosi there. And then the turnaround on what's going on with Iran and her undermining it. The 1-2 punch, and Nancy Pelosi's fake news is trending top.
And one of the things that they got is AOC and the progressives abandoning support for Pelosi and them because they got their feels hurt. And I'm going, okay, it's all about the feels. We'll talk about that too when we come back.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World.
You know what I'm talking about?
No, go ahead.
God, it was on something. AOC comes out and says, well, you know, they're been dismissive of the progressive movement, and they're against progressives, and they're not progressive enough, and they ain't woke, and we're not going to support and whatever. So there are a group, I guess, that are supportive of the progressive something. I don't know where their money or marching orders are coming from, but they're going to be in opposition to Pelosi. So I don't know, where the fracture or how big a fracture that is inside, because a lot of people, they don't really understand, or kind of grasp this. Congress is made up of 435 people. I mean, it's 35, right? And so it's big. Well, over half of that are Democrats. So 435, that's 216, 17, people. 217 and a half people are, plus. So that means what? 230, 40 people or something are Democrats. Of those Democrats, how big of a progressive vote is that? Well, there are progressive legislators, and I guess there's a progressive chunk of votes that has a percentage of, something, and they're threatening that support for the Democrats, and it'll go where? Are they going to have a socialist candidate? Are they, we want Bernie or something? Is the AOC crowd and stuff and the numbers that Bernie is doing well with, is that from them? Is that their candidate? Is it Bernie or Elizabeth Warren's trying to be that person or what? But it seems like it's Bernie.
Yeah, if you're talking about from the progressive side, it's definitely Bernie. Matter of fact, there's a channel, and again, this is the work that I do for you, Ernie. I don't even charge you, for my blood pressure. I watch CNN.
Yeah, I should charge you for
read the
therapy.
Washington Post. I watch read the Washington Post, the Compost, and at the same time, I even subscribe to progressive channels. The one I recommend for those of you that really want to hear the other sides, which I always recommend, you have to hear the other side. But there's one called the Humanist Report. And the Humanist Report, pull it up there, just for your own FYI. It's sort of like it's like second or third to the Young Turks. And I've been listening to them for this guy. It's just this one guy. He's like this real zealot for progressive values. And he's been sort of like a second string to the Young Turks. Well, what's happening, I'm realizing, is he's starting to move up in the ranks as far as with influence. Why? Because Cenk Uygur, of course, of the Young Turks, had to give up his spot so he could be running, the carpetbagger that this guy is, to run in that district. What's her name? Hill, Representative Hill, the one that got kicked out for having affairs with her staffers. Anyway, so he's actually running in her district. He had to give up that place at the Young Turks.
Now, what state is this? California?
California, yeah. So there's this vacuum going on right now.
Well, tell us about it on air.
Well, you asked me right now.
Well, I forgot what I asked you. Hell, man, but you're telling me all kinds of good stuff. So let's go ahead and hold it.
All
right. Now what are we talking about? Young Turk guy.
Yeah. The Young Turks.
And what was her name? That she's like, having orgies in Congress.
Yeah, her last name was Hill. Just put in Representative Hill, California. She'll come up.
Okay, it is California. Okay, Young Turk, and he's definitely Soros.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all that money, comes on.
All right. Yeah, we'll go down this road. All right, here we go.
Patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
There are those that just want to be left alone, and those that just won't leave them alone. Which one are you? The Ernest Hancock Show.
Roads? It's the Ernest Hancock Show. Where we're going, there aren't any roads.
Yeah, I like that one. That was Sierra. She just did one for fun when I happened to find it in the archive here. So I had them like, oh, there's Sierra's roads. Yeah, that was good. That was good. Okay, we're talking off air about the split in the Democratic congressional delegation in Congress, and there's you're not woke enough, you're not enough, or you're not enough. So there, I was kind of surprised that Pelosi got Speaker of the House after the 2018 election, and the Democrats come in, and then it's Pelosi. I was kind of surprised that she got chair then, but they pulled out all the stops. They had a plan, and she was, going to walk it through. That was her job. Well, she did what those wanted, but I don't know. Do you think she'll get, if the Democrats retain the House, which is a whole nother if, do you think Pelosi would maintain as Speaker?
Choke there, Ernie. Don't, please stop. No, of course not. What are you talking about? You're smoking. There's no way that she will be able to retain it. There's no way. She's lost control of the entire party. And to her credit, I hate to say this, but she was basically screwed. I mean, she saw the vice that she was stuck in, and in a way, it's fascinating because what we're seeing.
She's navigated it better than I thought most people would.
Guys, what we're finding, and Pelosi just represents like the figurehead of this, but we're watching mainstream Democrats, or at least the Democrats in charge, let's say the establishment Democrats, they are Dr. Frankenstein. And what they've done is they've watched their creature. They've watched it, better yet, it's like from Jurassic Park. It's the same thing. Jurassic Park is Frankenstein. The point is, you've sat back and you've allowed this thing to develop, and now they're being eaten. They're being torn apart by their own creature, the creature that they let loose. This creature of uneducated youth who they basically told not to learn about politics the way that, unless they tell you and brainwash you, not to read the Constitution, not to pay attention to certain things. To be outrage mob. They funded them for all these rallies and protests, and for these young people to be offended at the slightest thing, and then go on some rampage and then take over the technology that's new and developing that conservatives and older people are not quick enough with. Maybe not quite with Ernie Hancock. I know you're on top of this stuff, but most people are always behind. And so they have ridden this wave by basically having this trained pit bull that doesn't know any different. And so the youth progressive movement is like this pit bull that is just, they've riled up into this frenzy to let loose on conservatives. But you know what? It's finally come home to roost, and this pit bull is now turned on them, and they don't know what to do. They've never had to confront their own creation, and that is really what is happening right now. We're watching this happen across the country, across the world, really, but we're seeing it right now. I mean, first of all, we're seeing it with Iran somewhat, but that's a different story, the way that they're covering it. But basically, that's what they don't know. They don't know how to handle it. So basically, the Democrat Party is going to be splitting. It's fracturing. And AOC, I think you were commenting earlier, she now is denying even paying her dues, right? Did you hear about that? So she has to. It turns out if you run for office and you collect X amount of money, and I don't know what the amount is, like 20 or 30%, it's like paying tax to the DNC. So I'm sure the RNC does the same thing. So whatever money you bring into your party through fundraising, you're supposed to give back 20 or 30%, like in tidings, right? And you have to, you have to give it back to the DNC.
Re-election, blah,
it's
blah.
a campaign,
blah.
Right? And AOC is bringing in some good money.
Indominus Rex is what you did. I got a picture up they created. Indominus Rex.
Yeah. There we go. And so now the Dems. So now you have AOC who's leading the leftist cause, and she's the one that has all of the technology, and she's the one on top. She has the #1 Twitter following of any politician aside from Donald Trump. So I mean, here you have this monster that's been created. She's ignorant. She's clueless. She's just plainly stupid in my opinion. And yet she's the one now running that side, and she's breaking away. She's sitting there telling them. The money I have is my money. Why would I give it to you? I'm not even, you guys don't even represent me. She is bald-faced telling them, I am not you. Thank you for letting me get into your party. Thank you for supporting me so that I can now be a representative. And after she took advantage of the Democrat label, the branding, everything that they allowed her to do, now she's turning on them. And it's a sight to behold. And this is, they are, they're screwed, and this election will be a reckoning. And in all fairness, they have to go through what Republicans did. They have to clean house. And Republicans did it a little more civilly. Granted, they tried to change the rules so Ted Cruz could win, and all the crap during the primary that we had to fight against. And Freedom's Phoenix and many outlets, called them out and made sure they at least try to be ethical. I mean, granted, you and I expected them to play games, and Trump still outwitted them. But that's what the Republicans did. They had to clean house. That's what Democrats have to do, and they have to do it themselves. Anything Republicans say will just be turned on us. They have to. You need moderates and Democrats to finally stand up and stop the beast that they created. It's going to wipe them out for this next 2020 election. But at the end, I think they have to go through, again, a redefinition of what a Democrat liberal is.
Well, they got bringing out this guy, Unger, the Young Turk guy or something.
Right.
He's definitely Soros funded. And then what's her name that was having, congressional orgies or whatever. And so she resigns, which I would think that'd make her more popular down there. I don't know what the hell she's thinking. But so she decides to resign, and they got to fill that spot. So they're having the election with this Unger guy. And they're going to wait till November, or are they doing it now?
No, I think it's in November.
Okay, so here you have this person running. Tell us about him, and then you were talking about this humanist report thing you wanted to go.
Right. So thanks, Ernie. So I was just talking about that Ernie owes me for having to get my blood pressure up, reading and listening to liberal progressive sources to hear from the other side. So
there's no compensation for me.
I know compensation. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, watching CNN, and I actually write every day to the Washington Compost, and I post to their site and argue with those people. Anyway, that being said, there is a channel I recommend for those of you that really want to hear the other side and the strategies and some of the games being played, honestly, on the Democrats. I mean, they're doing to Bernie Sanders everything, like a checkoff list.
Are they going to do super delegates again and just put Hillary in there?
Well, no. I think they changed. I think. Don't hold me to that one. But it's interesting to watch their side, and it's what I was saying is what they're doing to Bernie Sanders is like a checkoff list, point for point. I'm getting like flashbacks of what happened to Dr. Paul. It's the exact same thing of what they're doing to him, and so it's fascinating to watch from that perspective. I know why. Yeah. Why, Ernie?
Because they can. That's why.
So anyway, this site, it's called, for those that check it out, it's called the Humanist Report. The Humanist Report. And I'm always posted on there, usually arguing with their people on there, so they kind of know me. But anyway, it's a pretty good site. The guy's very passionate. I give him credit. He's starting his own channel. He's a one-man show, and he's rising up in the ranks, and he's sort of like a very powerful second string to what was the number one progressive site, the Young Turks, which of course is, like we're saying, is a George Soros funded operation. And what's interesting is that the Humanist Report is now filling the vacuum of the Young Turks. Why? Because Cenk Uygur, who is of course the founder of the Young Turks, decided to be a carpetbagger and run for a house seat. And all credit to him, he's putting his money where his mouth is. But he's going to a different district, the district that was opened up by Representative Hill. I forget her first name. Was it Tracy or something? Anyway, Representative Hill, and she was the young, up-and-coming Democrat that was bisexual and swinging with people at her own campaign office, blah, blah, blah. So she was ousted out. She stepped down. So he's now running for that seat. So by running for the seat, he can't, at this point, run the Young Turks for conflict of interest. So with him stepping down, there's a vacuum, and the Humanist Report is really filling that void. So there's a lot of information to hear how progressives think and strategize. Check out that site.
All right. I got this pulled up. Democratic superdelegate rule changes for 2020. We're going to talk about it when I come back. We'll get all up to speed on this. We'll be right back. Trump Report. Dr. Frank Danbury.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate?
Yeah, when it goes up. Okay. Democratic superdelegate rule changes for 2020. All right, I'm going to read it to you, and then we'll talk about it, whatever, so I don't have to do it on air. Unpledged delegates, better known as superdelegates, will make up about 16% of the Democratic Party delegates in 2020. So 16% unpledged. They don't have to, whatever. These party insiders are part of each state's delegation, but are not committed to vote based on the outcome of the state's primary or caucus. This has caused considerable friction over the years. This came to a head in 2016 when many superdelegates announced early support for Hillary Clinton, creating the perception that the party was putting its thumb on the scale in her favor against Bernie Sanders. Now, what they don't say here is that these party insiders, they're often party leadership, congressional congressmen and women. They're the inside party people. As a result, the party has made a significant change for 2020. Superdelegates will no longer vote on the first ballot at the convention unless there is no doubt about the outcome. Where the hell that
There we are.
To win on the first ballot, the front runner must secure the majority of pledged delegates available during the nominating contest, primary and caucus, leading up to the Democratic convention. We estimate 3,979 total pledged delegates, with a majority being 1,990. So 1,990. Now, what they're doing is they're saying these superdelegates that aren't pledged don't vote in the first round unless it's, they just pile on and unanimous or whatever. All delegates become unpledged, and superdelegates will also vote if the convention is contested. More than one ballot is needed to select a nominee. So after the first round, the superdelegates don't get the votes in the first round. Then after the first round, then here we go. For those subsequent ballots, a majority of all 4,745 delegates is 2,373 will be needed to secure the nomination. Given the large field, front-loaded calendar, and the party's proportional allocation process, a contested convention can't be ruled out. So they're going to try and make it just, it's fait accompli. But, if they need the superdelegates, it's going to have to be on the second round. That's what they did.
Well, I'm glad they changed the rule. It's it was convenient when it was before, and that is make it more convenient for what they're trying to do. It's funny. I feel bad for a little bit for the average Democrat who hasn't been paying attention all these years, and now the chickens have come home to roost, and they're watching the party just basically dissolve. And there's no momentum. There's nothing. I mean, I don't know if you know this, Ernie, but did you know I'm sure you have written it down on your calendar, but today is the next Democrat debate. I think it's tonight.
Have you watched?
I mean, does anyone know? Does anyone care? That's my point.
No.
It's like nothing.
No. Have you been watching them?
I've tried. I have watched them a bit. But what's interesting is we cut the cord. We don't have cable, and it's astounding how difficult it is to find. If I want to watch I'm serious. If I want to find a Trump rally, it's going on right now. I put in Trump rally live. Bam! There's like 3 sites on YouTube I can click right in immediately.
Nobody is rebroadcasting the Democrats.
Oh, it's crazy. I put in CNN live debate. I'm thinking there'd be 5 channels. I mean, YouTube keeps trying to push us to the left anyway. You can't find it. Can't find these debates.
Here we go.
Social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Welcome back to Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock, on Trump Report. Trump Report, Dr. Frank Danbury, Trump Report. Okay, this is what's going on in the superdelegate thing. I knew they were doing some funky whatever the hell they were doing. All right. The way it works now is that the superdelegates made up 16% of the party delegates. Now, the party insider, which means, congressional candidate, the current Congress that are Democrats in that state, and you have party leadership and the party and they, them, those. And they get up and they say, we want this, and it's kind of we just decided, and the rest of you get the, vote, but we don't care. So that was not after they screwed Bernie Sanders. They're like, we don't like that. So what they do now is that the first round of voting, the super delegates aren't allowed to vote. If there isn't, unless it's obvious who's going to win, then they let them. Okay, you can pile on, make it unanimous or whatever. But the first round, nobody gets a majority. They go to the second round. Then everybody gets to vote. The super delegates, the other one, they all are free to do what they want. Because the way it's supposed to work now is that when you go in, you are obligated based on what happened in your state's primary or caucus, or they did something in your delegate for these particular candidates, which they can still put a gun to your head and say you can't, or you put a gun to them and say, I'm not going to. I mean, whatever. People can do whatever they want. But they're supposed to, and then they'll face civil action, or, they'll, won't get to take, go to the country club or something. There's no real laws that govern any of this stuff, so they wind up doing whatever they want, but people bitch anyway. So, but part of the rules now are the super delegates can't vote in the first round. So that means that if nobody gets a majority on the first round, then it's all open, and it's I guess what they call a broker convention. They all start brokering or something, whatever that means.
Exactly.
So then you have the majority of the 4,745 delegates is 2,373 will be needed to secure the nomination. Now, what that means is that when you get 16% of the super delegate, anything that's kind of close to it's going to be interesting to see how this works. But I'm sure they got a way to game this thing, and I don't trust them anyway, so it doesn't matter. I don't care. So the super delegate thing, they're trying to lessen that impact on the first round because Bernie Sanders. So I don't know what you think is going to happen this time. and when can Hillary? They just got a schedule, and they put Hillary gets to talk, and she'll go and she goes, vote. You didn't win on the first one. Vote for me. Vote for me. I got to vote for me.
Well, I don't know. I mean, this is the battle for the soul of what's left of the Democrat Party and the whatever diminishing power that the establishment has. I mean, they lost. I mean, think about it. They lost. They had their legs cut out from under them when Hillary lost. I mean, she was the bulldog of the establishment. People were lethally scared of her. I mean, let's just not forget that. So with her gone, certain body count list. But with her gone, just think, and not to get back into the Me Too thing, but from last time, but this whole Me Too movement began not from Fox, although the Fox News scandal with Gretchen Carlson sort of started it, but it brought attention. But it really was when Donald Trump won, or put it the other way, it's when Hillary Clinton lost, and therefore her control over Hollywood through Weinstein diminished enough where people started to come out.
Women-hating, misogynist women. That's what you were saying. The women, they're just their own gender-hating kind of. I can't believe they voted orange, and they should not be allowed.
So I just always want to be clear about this. It wasn't the Me Too movement was not because of Donald Trump with his little Access Hollywood quip. That was not what it was. It was not that at all. It was the fact that Ronan Farrow couldn't get his story out about the Hollywood abuses. No one would publish it. No one would touch it because they knew Weinstein's power with Clinton. And of course, they all knew Clinton would win. So they did not in any way wanted to expose this. So of course, once Hillary lost, that was when the Weinstein thing was published in a small little journal because the main newspapers still were cowardice to print it. And then, of course, the snowball effect happened from there. And of course, where we're now. And the Women's March, I think, is this weekend. Actually, there's another Women's March, that's the annual one. So the point, I just wanted, yeah, I know. I'm sure that you know about it. But I just wanted to bring that up. It's a very important point that in many ways, Trump's win has been liberation in other areas. It's sort of like the equivalent of what's going on in Iran. I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, but I saw an image that kind of, it was powerful for me to see just this morning. And it was a video, whether you think it's CIA and all this or not, Ernie, just hold off for a minute. You're cynicism. But it was an image from Iran with a woman who was standing in the middle of the square in defiance, took off her burqa. Just sat there. It was almost like a protest striptease, But it was scary. You could see the fear in her eyes and the defiance of taking that off, and that's what's going on during this protest.
Okay, wait. This is an Iran protester, and she took off her burqa?
Yeah, she's standing right there. I mean, she's taking off her burqa publicly.
Wow.
I mean, this is This is serious what's happening.
Yeah,
I'm
but
telling you,
there's
this
an
revolution-
advantage to burkas. You can't do facial recognition. Well, why wouldn't I give up all that freedom, man? You know,
all Freedom's Phoenix.
Yeah,
is
in
this sort of
France,
argument
in
come
France,
up.
you're not allowed to wear a burqa because they can't surveil you. In
Yeah,
Iran,
you know,
you have to. I mean, where is it? Get some freedom.
You know what, Ernie?
Can
Think
I-
about that. Ernie, think about it. That the new iPhone would not work with face recognition. They couldn't use their iPhone. In Iran.
Oh. Okay, I'll give you another sidetrack here. Last night we were at pizza, whatever the heck, Peter Piper or something, because it was Easton's second birthday. So we got, 30, 40 people there, man, and tokens flowing out like water. And we were just, having a good time and what's on the TV. It's the championship game of Clemson versus I don't care. And at the beginning of the game, who comes out? Trump and Melania. Melania's jacket, whatever. That's the only thing I remember is Melania and what she's wearing, So and we had the sound down, so I don't know if he was getting cheered or booed or what. I don't care. Melania, so it's all good.
And wait. Did you just see also what happened at that event? Did you see basically there's the cancel culture of the left. They're attacking another Hollywood celebrity today. And the celebrity of the moment is libertarian Vince Vaughn. So Vince Vaughn, the big, Ron Paul supporter. I'm not sure. I think
he's a
libertarian,
comedian
actually.
that does a lot of movies of whatever. And yeah, he's been to Ron Paul's home and all that stuff.
Yeah, he was really active with Ron Paul. So I think he identifies libertarian. He might be libertarian conservative like myself. I'm not sure. But he was at that game. And there's a video, if you want, just pull it up, where Vince Vaughn shook the hand of Donald Trump and said, they shared like a quick word. I don't know. Maybe he said, "Hi, Mr. President." I don't know. But anyway, this little quick video is going around and they're publicly shaming him and stoning him on social media. Like another Hollywood, a guest. This Hollywood person, one of us, shook his hand. Shame, cancel culture. Now, of course, anyone who follows this knows Vince Vaughn is a Republican / libertarian. But this is the desperate straits in which they are. Just the last I guess limits of public shaming, and hence again, Nancy Pelosi's fake news is trending, I think, the top, and that's from moderates and Democrats that I think are finally waking up to this and saying enough. So pull up the Vince Vaughn thing if you even care about it.
I'm looking at it. Yeah, we got
if you even care. I mean, it's kind of below even Freedom's Phoenix for us to talk about that one.
And I don't care.
I'm just kidding.
Well, where
I know,
were they?
celebrity
They were
news.
at the football game, so she was wearing her shiny jacket. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So anyway,
Whatever.
it just shows you what they're doing. Oh, and also speaking of cancel culture backfiring, there's another, and again, it's very important that we always chat about international news, which is like the large scale.
Well, don't forget, we're almost at the end of the show, and you didn't tell me about the Mike Fergarito Humanist Report thing.
Well, I was just pointing out that he's talking about the progressive split from the Democrats. So if you want to see how the Democrat
but
Party
where did he come from?
He's the progressive side. He's like far left.
Yeah, but I thought was he part of the Turk guys or something?
No, he's not. But he's part of that whole,
right,
the mindset. Anyway, but Bernie Sanders, you asked me, the question was, who are they supporting? The progressives know that Elizabeth Warren is a snake in the grass. She's basically Hillary Clinton with a Bernie Sanders mask on, and they know it. And they're watching how the media keeps trying to paint Bernie Sanders as like sexist, that he's a man, and of course, obviously. But I mean, that Elizabeth Warren is the real successor.
What do you mean, obviously?
Movement.
Did he self-identify? Do you know his pronouns? Don't you be presupposing. Freaking,
True.
Generous transphobia, whatever the hell. That stuff is all going away, man. it's just too stupid, just too
Wait, Ernest. So what is your preferred pronoun?
I don't know. I don't even know what they mean. I don't care. Whatever. I don't get into that. I don't even know what the hell they're talking about. So can I pick one? Can I make one up?
Yeah, go ahead. You can be
whatever.
anything now.
Yeah, well, they got so many choices. Wow.
They, them, those.
I saw
they,
somebody
them,
had
those.
LGBT, and it was like Liberty had a Statue of Liberty. LB was, G was a gun, B was beer, and T was Trump. And it was on the back of their car. LGBT. Trump. Hold on, more stream. Are you going to be able to do more? You got to go.
Yeah, probably about half an hour. I probably should get going.
All right. No interruption. Tell me everything. Oh, Davi comes in today.
Oh, jeez. Tell him I said hello.
Let's do it.
Tell him I said hello. Yeah, I know. I actually, I'm rarely ever on Fascist Book. I don't go on there, but he posts quite a bit there. And
he lives there.
He was not so happy about Donald Trump's little,
assassination
adventures in Iran. Let's just put it that way.
I guarantee. I'm not seeing this is not good. There's no way this is going to turn out well. I see, Ernie. I mean, I swear to you, I'm not trying to drink the Kool-Aid, but I'm just telling you, it's like I think I have a feeling, this might turn out well. I mean, I have a feeling if this Iranian regime can't turn out well because no matter what happens in the future, there's going to now be this precedent of preemptive killing of other people's military and political leaders. That cannot possibly turn out.
Wait. Explain what you're talking about. We spent
by the time you set to where the alliance, the United States of America has as policy that under whatever they make it up conditions, go around killing the leaders of other countries. That is just, it's as dumb as go around killing, little people, Let's go kill the little people. Let's take out this village. Let's do that. We're all fodder. If you're going to be doing it. I remember Saddam Hussein challenging Bush to a duel. All right, fine. Why are we going to kill all these people? Just me and you just do it.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wait, he challenged.
Yeah, that was a big deal. You don't remember that? Right. Let me pull this up. Okay, Saddam.
Oh man, I
challenges
pay money for that.
Bush.
Yeah,
duel.
we could have done pay. They could have done pay-per-view for that. That'd be awesome.
I know, man. You could write off the budget right there. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Yeah. White House rejects Bush-Saddam duel offer. The White House scorned an Iraqi leader's suggestion that President Bush and Saddam Hussein could resolve their differences in a duel, calling it an irresponsible statement that did not justify a serious response. Why?
I lived in Japan, for those of you that listen to the show. I went to college there and lived at a Buddhist monastery for quite a while. Cool. Anyway, over in Japan, I learned the sport I got into was sumo wrestling. I became like a real affectionate. Oh no, I knew sumo. It was like Americans love football. I was like all in the sumo and all the different, just the whole sport.
Yeah,
anyway,
rock stars, man.
You should see this, all the just as these sumo guys get. But the point is that sumo killing each other was just nonstop, and so eventually they got to a point where they were running out of men to kill each other. And so they decided to resolve their differences, sort of like having rap battles. They decided to do it with sumo. So basically, if one army wanted to invade another, instead of killing each other, they would each bring forth their sumo wrestler. They would have one sumo bout, and whoever won the whole territory. I mean, that's what it came down to. And that's why sumo became such prestigious, because that sumo wrestler basically, made or broke your entire society based off of that performance. That's why there's so much honor and ritual behind it. So anyway, I think maybe we should go back to that. We just
let them duke it out, shoot it out, man. I don't care.
Duke it out, yeah, exactly.
And what do they win? Nothing. They just whose penis is not as small as what I don't care. It's seriously, this stuff is just and I don't care. That's why I don't want to. All this arguing about what's going on doesn't matter to me. I don't care. What? So this phrase, America and her interests, the only interest America should have is the freedom of its people. That's it. That's the whole reason for its existence. You don't do that, you're just babbling BSing me. So I'm really not.
So I'm going to ask you. Let me ask you a question. So what if? And I don't want to play this what if game too much because you and I. It'll go another 20 hours here, but like, what if America was put in a position like Israel? So imagine if maybe there's countries larger, or all the countries around us, Canada, Mexico, they all say death to America, and our edict is to destroy you off the face of the planet. If that's the modus operandi of your enemies, all coordinated for your destruction. I mean, do you decide to fight back? Do you stand up? Do you just sit back and wait for them to attack first? I mean, these are the questions. It's called real life, and I understand the principles
question.
behind it.
If you ask the wrong question, it doesn't matter what the answer is. That's the whole point of this.
Question is wrong. Tell me the right question. Go ahead.
am I allowed as an individual to protect myself and my family and my property, or whatever perceived threat I have from it? Am I allowed? No, you're not allowed. It has to be done collectively and in your name. So when you say, what if we're going to come and destroy you, Ernie, or America and America Inc. and Washington, D.C., I'm just going, I don't care. Don't bother me, and me and my friends will get together and kind of don't bother me, but you're not allowed to even think that way. You're not allowed. You're part of a collective. You're going to support your team with mandated 45 to your head, take your money, and in the name of this guy that says he wants to take us over, we're going to take your money to defend against them that don't like us. I go, but what does that have to do with me? Doesn't matter. We're going to take your money, and we're going to defend us against them. Who's us? Not me.
Yeah, but you have to understand. I mean, what we're starting to lose sight of.
I have to understand. What do I got to understand?
I'm explaining to you. You got to keep in mind. I mean, world's getting so big, and we're being so decentralized, and we don't even know our neighbors. Is that I think this part of society?
Allowed to.
No. Well, no. Wait. The thing is that society. Societies are always smaller. You had villages and towns, and people knew each other's neighbors. And what I'm getting to is that your society was an extension of your family, because everyone met at the same church on Sunday. Everybody knew each other. Yeah, I hate to bring up Hillary Clinton and a good.
Well, I don't know the people going to church in New Jersey.
Wait. It's like the saying, "It takes a village." Is that most of human history?
Village?
Oh gosh.
No, you're justifying this.
You're the peanut gallery.
We're communal people, and we're social creatures that need. I go, no, we're not. Yeah, we are, but they're not letting us be. And they're saying whatever collective that we do belong to is not local, not neighborhood, not your church, not your state, not your county, not your city. It's not there. It's to the national collective of American flag of Trump America. And I go,
Ernie.
Why do you get to define what my collective is?
Ernie, my point being, let me jump to the punchline because you're probably missing my point here, is that if somebody attacked, I hate to bring up, we try to stay not in the personal area. Let's say people were attacking your children. They're attacking one of your daughters. They're attacking them. And if they were doing that, I mean, perhaps maybe a son or daughter of yours did something wrong. Maybe they didn't do something the greatest.
Yeah, they filled out selective service and they sent them to a sand heap around the world. You mean like that?
I'm saying that if you defend your family, if someone's attacking your family member, even if they maybe if instigated the transgression.
Yeah, you mean like mandatory vaccines like that?
If you defend your family member, are you now part of a collective? And therefore, if it's okay to defend your family, then the question is, how far do you extend that out?
Well, how far I want to, and not you with some law tell me I got to.
Well, I agree. Shouldn't be forced to do it. But I have to tell you this, that the society, it's easy now to see society so desperate and so different from ourselves. But these rules and the way society has been created has been an extension of times when societies and towns were very small and everyone knew each other. And so societies were an extension of your family is what I'm getting at. But when we have a culture breakdown, which is what we have, when people don't think we have a culture, which is what the two of us will argue over, when you don't think there's a culture and everyone's so individual and separate and you don't even know your neighbor, this is how I think this begins to break down. I think this is what the whole Trump deal is, and why I love when Donald Trump gets up there and does his tweets and sits there and does F-bombs during a campaign rally. He's making people laugh. And by laughing, in many ways, comedy and humor is one of the best, glues to bring people together. And I think that's really what Trump is doing. He's making part of the Trump train a party. He's making it fun. It's sort of like you're part of the in crowd. And by doing so, he's unifying people through humor and laughter, that we are a family as far as Americans and unified through culture. So there's a lot going on there. I know it's easy just to dissociate and then you go out and if you want to go out with your bug out bag and go out and with your chickens out in the wilderness and say I'm all yourself there, Ernie. But society is a collection. It's a collective in a sense, but it's usually not felt by force when you feel like it's family. And that's the question. If you defend your family, is it by force? Is it or by obligation, or is it something that you don't even think about because it's family? And
that was one thing that I
stop being family.
There was a meme, and it said, "Men defend women not because they're weaker, but because they're important." And my thing is that there's separation of powers, but when stuff happens, my wife and I know that she's not going to be hiding under the bed. I mean, as I roll over and grab, my firearm, she's getting hers, and it's like, yeah, baby, when they take me out in the hallway, I mean, you got to take care of yourself. I mean, something. So this is an individual thing of what and how you defend your life and your property, and under what circumstances, and how and why. And my thing is when they go, we got to defend America against these heathen, galloping hordes of. And I'm going, all right, define that. That's why I keep saying, make America great again. I go, define America and define great, and then we can talk about it. But they never do. It's all, we got to defend America against what? Support of Trump, trust in Trump. That's it. That's all I get. Oh, and we got to go kill these generals. I'm going, I'm not in. No. Because I don't trust them. I don't trust his intentions. I don't trust what he's done. He hasn't done anything to do away with the Federal Reserve. He wants them to print more money and cheaper. He hasn't done anything to, he hasn't warmongered as much as I was afraid he has. But there's a lot of warmongering going on, So I'm going, no, I'm not feeling good about that. And if it works out, is he everybody goes, is he the luckiest man alive? He's got a plan. He's doing whatever the hell he's doing, but sometimes these plans go crazy and some guy that didn't mean to shoots a missile and shoots down an airliner. And sometimes it might not be, a Tehran guy, the Tehran plane coming to Tehran, but Ukraine, it's filled with a bunch of Ukrainians that were looking at some kind of deals that were going on. There might have been a little bit more than just, oops, I made a mistake, So how do we know? We don't. So why are we over there? I don't care. So this is, to me, it's not about defending, us and the collective of America. They always want it to be that. We are united under one flag, and Trump's going to, make decisions for me on who I get to trade with, what products I get to buy from what country and what way and how much tariff. And I'm going, I don't want you doing that for me. I'll do it for me. And then I don't want you protecting and giving big giant contracts to Amazon for the Pentagon to give them an advantage. Even Elon Musk, NASA, boom, give them a bunch of money, probably cheaper than giving it to the Russians. But the point is they shouldn't even have been there. I want American space program, civilian in quotes, and it goes straight to Space Force. And I'm no matter what you're saying, you're going, yeah, but don't you think, Ernie, that I go, yeah, I do think. I just don't think what you think. This whole thing, I'm not feeling good about.
Well, Ernie, first off, I want to be clear too. I don't want to rehash the last 4 hours from the last week. I only have 20
minutes.
Which was
the same thing.
That's the same thing, but it doesn't mean that I agree necessarily that everyone has to think the same way and everyone has to go, just Team America. That's not my point. I'm just throwing out the question: at what point does the family, does defending one's family and culture and community blend out into nationalism? In other words, at what point where if someone else attacks you, do you stand up? Where is the line for libertarians? Even I pointed out, if someone decides that they're going to punch your mother or your child, you could be a pacifist all day, but are you not going to raise a fist or pull a gun if someone's going to attack your family member? In other words, what is the line? And it might be individual for each person.
Exactly. My God, can it be left up to the individual? Why am I got to? Well, we got to have rules for we got to under Trump says and trust in and legislation of Trump. And then what do I get from him? Red flag laws? Yay.
Right. Well, the argument we were talking last week was that there's like a quid pro quo, which is that you pay taxes, you're part of a society. In other words, by paying taxes, you're helping to defend the very culture that allows you the choice to decide whether or not you want to be part of the military or not, because the military is voluntary. So if you want to volunteer to keep that culture going, which allows people to burn the flag and be able to sit there and say whatever you want to say and have your own Freedom's Phoenix station, then that's your choice. But it doesn't mean there aren't costs. In order to sit back and say, I don't want to be part of anything, and I don't want to protect this, or I don't want to defend that, or I don't want to be part of this conspiracy or the CIA. If you want to decide what you want to do and who to support, that's great. This American culture allows you to do so, but it doesn't come without a cost. And if the cost is paying your 20, 30, 50% in taxes, well, that's a whole nother issue. I don't want to get into that, but obviously we're overtaxed for a whole bunch of reasons. But just the concept of being taxed for a collective, which is what I know you find so offensive, but that's sort of the quid pro quo. I mean, you need at least, there's a society and a culture that you're defending with that money that allows you the right to do what you're doing. And that's what you see more when you're from overseas. And that's I kind of summarized what the 3-4 hour argument was between the two of us last week, but that's pretty much, I think, the point. It's an interesting debate. I mean, it's a legitimate question, and I understand the issues of libertarians with it, but
I am not sure you got to even label it libertarian. I mean, it's the purpose of government is defense of individual rights. That's it. And if you go, no, you're not allowed to defend this person or group for these reasons, okay, well, bring my butt to trial. Let's do it. Well, but if I do it in the name of, and I get the sanction, I get a letter of marque from Trump to go kill and maim somebody else and get killed, that's okay. And I'm going, man, who made up these decisions? Where's the criteria here? Yeah, but, the polls say. I don't give a crap about polls. It doesn't matter because these powers that that Trump has, they wanted Clinton to have. Hillary comes in with I'm like, damn. They're going, yeah, we need to curtail this war-making kind of. All of a sudden they want to vote in Congress now for this stuff, and they're going, yeah, but we don't want to do it and Trump lose, and then we have to reauthorize some more power for our Democratic president. That'll be. I mean,
it's not perfect, and I get that. There's never each their point of view. However, I think the two rules for me, this is just my opinion, it's kind of off the cuff, but that would be as long as there's no draft, as long as military service is always voluntary, and at the same time that the routes to elect public officials who make international policy decisions is equitable and fair. And I know you're probably vomiting over that one. I mean, I certainly get that. But the fact that Donald Trump is president is always proof the system maybe perhaps on its knees, but the system still worked enough that Donald Trump was able to be elected, and he wasn't just thrown out or basically ignored or just scammed out. So the fact, as long as the avenues to vote the representation that you want, whether it's good or bad, doesn't matter. My point is, if the people at large can vote ultimately who they want, and the military is still voluntary, then to me that's kind of the quid pro quo on having the freedoms that we're allowed to choose.
Well, do you think that's what we're getting? The freedom to choose. I don't feel like I'm having even just socially. This argument between support and not support of Trump or even the presidency at all. It's the debate that's been squashed. That was one of the we did the DVDs. I went down to the state capitol yesterday. All the legislators got a dose. Which
DVD did you send out?
We did 3. We did the one. Did you do your due diligence that they wanted?
Right.
About pro-vaccine and pro-vaccine scientists and doctors asking questions about and kind of don't scare the horses thing, and so that caused them some pause maybe, and then Healthy Generation Next that I put together is a double film. One, it's on the TruthStream Media that did a thing about them shutting down the First Amendment debate by censoring and banning all discussion on the net with Google and YouTube and all. I'm going, that was a powerful video. It's like, look, it doesn't even matter what side you're on. Look what they're doing. This is bad. Right. Then one of the doctors, which was Dr. Needus, was the director of the Cleveland Institute, the Cleveland Wellness Medical Institute of Clinic of something. So I guess it's. Do you know who that is? You ever heard of that clinic?
Which one? Cleveland Clinic?
Yeah, the Cleveland Clinic.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, that's like a big deal. Why is that such a big deal? What do they do? What makes them so great?
They're sort of like the Mayo Clinic. They do a lot of investigative and new techniques and procedures.
So
you hear about the Cleveland Clinic, a lot of cancer, cancer treatments.
Well, this guy, Needus was the director of that, but he wrote an article a few months ago on this vaccine thing, especially the flu shots for all. We got sick. He just asked some questions. Boom, fired. I mean, super great, wonderful, stupendous director of, and all of a sudden, and you're gone. And I'm going, wow, if that wasn't a message. So we had that one film has the shutting down a debate, and if you talk about it, you get fired. So those two on one, I kind of tell you what's up. It's about the First Amendment. Then we have Second Amendment is for everyone, 5 videos on there, the gang, the Second Amendment, kind of a primer, then the gang, which is about the ATF, and then no guns for Jews, and then another one, no guns for Negroes, and then innocence betrayed. And of course, it's gun control, and they put you in the Auschwitz showers, and then of course the freed slaves aren't allowed, and Ku Klux Klan lynching, you're not allowed to have a gun. And then they had innocence betrayed, where you got like 160 million people killed by their own governments after they disarmed you. So that video we did after Sandy Hook, and did like 5,000 and distributed them, and that kind of stopped a bunch of stuff. So I did that again along with the First Amendment, and then of course the due diligence one. So those went into the Senate and House mail room, and they got sent out. And then of course McAnarchist was out there with me, and he did the parking lots and garages and whatever and so on. So we were only there an hour and a half or something. It didn't take very long. Boom, did it. Met, peace, kind of gun. Got to go check my gun, though. Got to check my gun. So I check my gun. So I go in there and check my gun. And they were kind of buttheads about it, too. Usually they don't give me crap, But I just, where are the lockers? They moved the lockers. And I wanted them here where I could see them, I'm like, where'd you like? We'll get right with you, sir. You're not so special. You got a gun. And I'm going, wow, man, this guy, man, he didn't like it. And I was like, so when I came back, I took a picture of him taking the gun out. Hey, what are you taking? I go, man, I don't need you. I don't care. I'm getting my gun. You want to hear the whole story? I mean, we're responsible for that being there. You want to talk about it? So every year I got to test it. I go down, make sure they check my firearm. I go in, do my First Amendment stuff, come back, get my second. That's my deal.
Right.
So I went, they go and they check the log. Yep, Ernie signed it, and there he is, They didn't even ask. I didn't even have to sign it, just initialed to get it back. But they wanted to see my driver's license. And they go, okay. And I go, well, why'd you want to see my driver's license? So that we, know you didn't write down the name. You didn't. I mean, why do you need this? Whatever. It's so stupid. It's just stupid. I mean, I guess I got my ticket. I can come back and get it. So it was didn't take very long. Went down, said, "Yo, what's up?" A couple people we recognized, and peace, and I'm out. And then we're back here and we're doing the mailing. Donna, we've done 8,000 to 10,000 DVDs, and they've been shipped to 30 states.
Wow. I was watching Donna do all those DVDs. My God, it's a full operation you guys have. It's a lot of work.
Well, I was more. It was Gary and Verda and Brian and me and Keith and Donna. I mean, there's a lot of us just plowing on it for a a long time. We got kind of a late start because they were, you're dealing with collectives. But but we've got it taken care of. And I just look, just move over and just let me take it, whatever. All right, you guys, whatever, so we dealt with it. But these activists, New Jersey came out, 8,000 parents were there protesting them trying to do away with religious exemptions in New Jersey on vaccines yesterday. 8,000 people are out there, and they tabled it, and hopefully they waited until they went sine die, and he hit because that was the end of their legislative session, yesterday, and then it starts, after the election. But they banged the gavel, and they wouldn't leave until they, finished the session, because they knew they were going to try and vote on something.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is over, man. I'm telling you, I could people. How did you know, or how did you not know? Here we go. I'm like, I don't know if we're going to make it to the road before, the country goes in vaccine revolution.
Yeah. Hey, look, but by the way, just a few minutes I have left here. We've talked about, we kind of were talking about this at the end of the last hour, but as far as the pop culture, I like to talk about basically the macro, which is the international changes going on, the nationalist populist movement on the big scale. It's sort of like checking out galaxies. And then you go all the way down to the micro, which would be the atom. And in this case, it's pop culture here with our own country. So, the pop culture really shows you the direction the country's going. I mean, even though we're talking Star Wars or other things. But anyway, the pop culture has been going through a seismic shift as well. I just wanted to point out a few things just in the last week. First off, we have Ricky Gervais. Of course, we talked about him last week. But Ricky Gervais, it turns out, he wound up collecting, I don't know, some massive amount of followers, like 1 million followers or something overnight. He also wound up going up. I don't know if it's a Q-score rating. I mean, I know what a Q-score is, but it was some sort of scoring that Hollywood uses to see whoever the most, talked about or most influential person in Hollywood is. He went from, I think, number 30 or so up to number 1. So despite all the anger that the establishment elite had over him, he wound up basically just leapfrogging to number 1, Ricky Gervais. So his asking price went up dramatically, and like with Dave Chappelle, is showing the rest of the world, or at least the rest of the country, that there's money to be made if you fight the establishment. And that's where this is leaning. And I can keep going. That at the same time this past week, Doctor Who, which I know a lot of you probably don't really watch, but they wound up introducing the new a female doctor last time, which, it's not a big deal necessarily if it's female, but it was an SJW takeover of that show. And the show turned into the Magic School Bus, so to speak, where now it's just a female doctor going around talking about how evil white men are and about racism and, with Mrs. Parks, and the rest of it. So it turns out that the new Doctor Who has lost close to 70% of its audience over the last year. They completely just blew it out.
Who did?
No one's watching. Doctor Who, the makers of Doctor Who. So they went complete SJW, go woke, go broke, and the new second season just came out a couple weeks ago. Episode 3 came out, and I'm not expecting anyone to watch it. I'm just pointing out that Doctor Who is like their version of Star Trek or Star Wars, and they completely, that whole franchise has been taken over and tanked. At the same time, you have The Rise of Skywalker, the last Star Wars movie, and this movie now is it's limping at the very end to make the $1 billion mark. I mean, this last Star Wars movie was designed to be the equivalent of Avengers Endgame. It was meant to be the ultimate Star Wars movie, the 9th movie in the series, the last Skywalker movie, where everything comes together and with a bunch of J.J. Abrams lens flares and everything. And this thing limps barely into $1 billion. I mean, other movies, it's like stupid cartoons were making more money than this sucker. So basically, they've destroyed the Star Wars franchise, and they know it. So Star Wars is dead. Then we've got Star Trek. So Star Trek, it's kind of a shame because I just began introducing my better half to Next Generation, which, for those of you that have seen it or haven't seen it, definitely check it out on Netflix, or you can buy the Blu-ray. And we'll go back to being too geeky here. But they wound up putting so much care into reissuing this Blu-ray. They remastered the entire series. It looks gorgeous. I mean, it looks like as if it's a brand new show. They tweaked the special effects a little bit.
And this is what, Next Generation?
Next Generation, yeah. If you just check it on Netflix, especially, it's like, even for me, I know every episode inside and out, and it's like watching it anew. It's just so beautiful, and the colors are vibrant, and it looks beautiful. But anyway, it's nice to watch Next Gen again, and it's amazing. It's like a fine wine. That show, I think, has gotten better with age. It's a fantastic show, and it's a wonderful escape from all the crap going on. I find myself that when times get tough or you just have a rough day or whatever, sometimes comfort food, people put in the Star Wars movie, or some geeks, they'll put in a Star Trek, because, it's a humanist future. It's a future that's optimistic, and it kind of, you're addressing modern problems, but not in your face with it. And it's great characters. Anyway, the point being is that Star Trek the Next Gen is one of the most influential shows in television history. It's a wonderful show. But CBS was taken over by, guess what? SJWs, right? Between the SJW of the J.J. Abrams that took over the Paramount part of Star Trek, and ran the movie franchise into the ground. And then you have CBS, which owned the television rights. And that's a whole other issue about Star Trek is split apart because of the television rights versus the movie rights. And they're not on the same page. And that's why the whole thing's fallen apart. But both sides, the television side and the movie side, were both taken over by SJWs. I mean, J.J. Abrams' wife is part of the Speak Out Us Two movement. I mean, J.J. Abrams completely sold out to go SJW. Of course, they're so pro SJW, and yet for some reason they won't relinquish their director chair and let a female minority, basically be the director. It's amazing. It's all the white men that sit there and dictate that how racist and sexist Hollywood is, but yet they're still in charge, right? But with that aside, Star Wars now, of course, tanked. Now you have Star Trek. So Star Trek is so desperate to get ratings for any show, because the Discovery, which I know you love that show, Ernie, which is just aghast that you like it. But anyway, that show's a piece of crap, that show Discovery. And now, because it's failing, and that was what CBS put all of their eggs in, was thinking that Star Trek geeks like me would follow anything that has the Star Trek label. So if they could put a Star Trek show and put it on CBS All Access, it was their one anchor show to get anyone to pay for CBS, because I'm certainly not going to be paying for Murder, She Wrote, right, reruns. So anyway, that's what they're trying to do, and it failed. And they can't even give their show away. I mean, Netflix, matter of fact, Netflix decided not to even cover Star Trek Discovery. They lost so much money. Netflix said, I don't even want it. And then, of course, you had people, companies that were making the toys, the vendors. It turns out that the merchandise companies decided to bail on Star Trek. They lost so much money because no one is buying the merchandise. So they can't even sell the Star Trek franchise for merchandising reasons. So then they got so desperate, they pulled out Sir Patrick Stewart, who I have a lot of respect for. The man is a fantastic actor. And of course, the character of Picard, watching that show over again as an adult, it's even more breathtaking what an acting a triumph that Patrick Stewart did. But nevertheless, they brought him back from the dead almost. He's like 80-something years old, 79, 80, back to play Picard. So they decided to go further into the storyline and do a Star Trek movie 20 years after the last. Oh, I'm sorry, it's a series, Picard, that takes place 20 years after the last Star Trek movie, which was Nemesis. And so this show is a desperate attempt of CBS to try to find anyone to watch Star Trek, and they're going to try to tie the Picard series back to the Discovery series to try to make their Star Trek pathetic show relevant again. Well, anyway, with all this said, they got Patrick Stewart, and now the show's coming out next week, this new Picard series, which I won't go into it. I can talk hours about the making of the show and how much crap went into it and desperation, and Netflix and the world. Everyone dumped on this show because they don't want another repeat of Discovery. And you know who came out of the closet in order to fund the Picard series because nobody wanted it? Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos supposedly is a Star Trek fan, and of course he's a progressive. And since nobody would fund it, he's like, fine, I'll throw you a couple of pennies here and you can make your Picard show. Well, this Picard show, it seems like, is nothing but another bait and switch SJW crap. So they made a show that has nothing to do with Next Generation, and it's Jean-Luc Picard who is now cynical. And get this, he's angry about how the Federation has turned into basically Trump land. So Picard, or Patrick Stewart, came out in Variety a couple days ago talking about how basically Brexit effed up, and he used the words in the interview, that Brexit effed up his country and Trump has effed up America, and that is why he decided to do this show that has nothing to do with Next Generation, but shows the betrayal of how the Federation was a great place, but now has turned on him and the people. And so this show is basically, it's like the progressives angry at the Trump people about racists and sexists and misogynists and the rest of all the ists. And that's what this show is. So it's really been very sad to have someone that many geeks at least find, hold up as a hero, or at least an acting icon, Patrick Stewart. And he's basically the rich elite, acting elite, and he's coming out now anti-Trump and showing how this show is basically doomed from the start as well. So anyway, I'm just
So you think Picard is not going to be popular?
Oh, no. The first episode, people are going to watch just for curiosity. But when that show first started to do the rounds of Star Trek conventions, already people, most of the geek community is so tired and tired of this game of the SJW infusion, everything from Ghostbusters and Star Trek and Doctor Who, and we've talked about it on this show ad nauseum. They know it, and there's no buzz for the show. I mean, I'm sure that you haven't really heard much about it. Nobody cares about this show because of the politics involved, and it has nothing. Here's the key: has nothing to do with next generation characters. Basically, and a lot of this is a rights issue, which I don't want to get into that, but they screwed up the rights, and so they have to make Star Trek 25% different from original Star Trek. That's actually in like the contract because of the rights issue. So therefore, they can't. That's why, by the way, guys, is that the new Star Trek movies and the Discovery show is not quite following the canon of regular Star Trek. It's because it was actually in the rights. In other words, they sold the rights, but they can't make Star Trek as a continuation of what we all watched before. The original Star Trek, Next Gen, Voyager, Deep Space Nine, Enterprise, that is all one universe. But when they sold the rights for JJ and Bad Robot, which we call Bad Reboot Productions, but that company, in order to get it, JJ wanted the merchandising rights. But in order to get merchandising rights, in other words, he didn't want to make a movie that was based off of old regular characters, because then if they did original Spock and Picard, then any toys and merchandise that was sold would go actually to the prior right holders. So in order for JJ to cash in with the merchandise, which is what he wanted, the contract was that he had to make Star Trek look different enough so that when it was sold, it wasn't infringing on prior trademarks and copyrights. So that is why he had to create this parallel universe, and everything looks different. It's like 25%. It has to be 25% different by a court of law for copyright reasons. And that's where it's all greed. It's absolute greed and sellout, infusing their politics, changing it for rights. And that's what JJ does. He tried to get Star Trek for merchandising rights. It fell apart on him. Then he moved over to Star Wars and tried to do the same thing there, created a different type of Star Wars look. And that's another reason they killed off all the main characters. They're trying to push the new characters because JJ and his people get merchandising rights on the new characters. And if it's the old characters, supposedly George Lucas still gets a cut if they use Chewbacca or they use Han Solo. So you just kill them off, you put them in the background, you put a tarp over R2-D2 for the first movie, the Force Awakens crap, and you sit there and you just push BB-8 and you sell the toys. But everything JJ touches just falls apart. He's like locusts. He's sort of like a swarm of locusts that goes into a franchise and destroys it of what's left. And now he's moving on to DC Warner. He's moving on to the DC franchise. He just made $500 million contract to go over now to destroy another franchise.
Wait, whoa, time out. When did this happen?
That happened like 4 months ago, 5 months ago.
Okay, so J.J. Abrams is going over Superman, Batman stuff.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to go destroy that one. And he was negotiating that deal while he was supposed to be making the last Star Wars movie. So, I mean, the guy is he's a greedy SOB. This guy
he is a hired mercenary for them.
That is true. Well, he is hired mercenary, but hired mercenaries have no allegiance to principles. It's about the money, and that's what you see with him. So anyway, so Star Trek, this new Star Trek is going to basically, just probably destroy what's left of the franchise, at least for now. And it's been kind of a little crestfallen for people to see Patrick Stewart just kind of put his finger in the air and figure out that the average Twitter mob is anti-Brexit, Orange Man bad, and he went along with that. So that's going to destroy that franchise. So anyway, so Hollywood, of course, the different flops that are going on. There's the Charlie's Angels movie that was a flop. There's, of course, the Vince Vaughn thing that we talked about. And lastly, the last part of this Hollywood part of the culture war is the Joker. Remember, we chatted when the movie came out that the leftists were saying, don't watch Joker. It's incels. They went out of their way to tank that movie after it got a standing ovation, the longest standing ovation ever for a movie at, I think it was the Cannes Film Festival when it debuted last year at some point. It got the longest standing ovation ever in the history of the festival. And that freaked out the leftists here in America. And they went on this campaign to basically scare people not to see Joker. They got the military to show up, and they did like background checks and like pat downs at movie theaters around the country. Did everything to dissuade people from watching this piece of crap Joker movie that it was nothing but a Trump supporter commercial. Well, the movie comes out. Scorsese's name is attached to it. The movie was fantastic. It's broken records. I think it's the most profitable movie of all time. And I say profitable because it's going to cost so little to make. It's redefined completely superhero movies. It showed the maturity now of what superhero movies can go. We can get beyond the pow wham and get into deeper stories like Logan and with Joker. But here's what I'm getting to, is that with all that headwind from the leftists, it's another absolute collapse loss of their influence, because during the Golden Globes, Joaquin Phoenix wound up getting the nod for the Golden Globes. And I think it won what was it? I forget which award it won for the Golden Globes. But because it won an award and was nominated, it basically showed coverage that this movie is okay to support, because if they don't, the Oscars is going to lose all credibility. They have no credibility now. And if they wound up snubbing Joker, there'd be nothing left of the Academy. And so the Academy just came out with their nominations, and Joker swept the nominations. It has, you should look it up. I forget how many. It has like 9 or 13 Oscar nominations. The entire movie. That movie is like the Titanic of this year. And that is the ultimate middle finger to the establishment. So between with what's his name? Gervain, I'm sorry, with Ricky Gervais. I don't know why the name escaped me. Between Ricky Gervais basically calling out the entire Hollywood elite, and then with Joker being the #1 Oscar runner right now, we're seeing a true turnaround in Hollywood. I mean, the free market is forcing their hand. So I just wanted to point that out, because we're seeing the international changes with Iran and other countries, but we're also seeing it with pop culture and the loss of control and influence of the Hollywood leftists.
Okay, one thing I wanted to inject is, Bob Anderson's here. Say hello, Bob. Hello. Yeah, so
hey, Bob. How you doing, buddy?
Okay, so what we did is I got into Mandalorian. Now, the only reason is because if you have Verizon, you get Disney Plus free for a year. Try to suck you in. I don't think they're going to be able to do it. But you get Disney and Hulu and all the Disney thing, and they're just trying to, get as many subscribers or whatever. It's free, and they can bite me. But what happens is Mandalorian's on there, which is a Star Wars bounty hunter of kind of Boba Fett thing, And that's where Baby Yoda is in and all that crap. I watched that, and who's on the credits? Kennedy. She's, one of the top producers for that. So she's still around.
Well, I mean, technically, her name has to be attached. She's the executive producer of all of Lucasfilm. So anything going through any Star Wars content has her name on it, which is fun to see, because when you see this horrible movie like the Rise of Skywalker or the Fall of Skywalker, and you see her name up there, and J.J. Abrams, their names will forever be plastered on these movies that destroyed this franchise, which was funny also, showing the duplicitousness of J.J. Abrams, because once the movie came out and critics destroyed it and the movie's losing money. I mean, it's not going to lose complete money, but let's just say it's going to barely make any profit at all off of a movie they expected to make $2 billion. And with all the reshoots, because of all the bad reviews, the movie probably cost $750 million to actually make and market. So at the end of the day, they're probably only going to make about $200 million off of this movie that was supposed to have been the Avengers Endgame and the capstone of this thing. And the minute when they realize this, J.J. Abrams, the hired gun slime ball that this guy is, comes out and he starts bashing and dissing on Kathleen Kennedy and Bob Iger of Disney, and he starts turning on the hand that feeds him. Why not? His contract is officially done. In other words, the movie's out, so he can say whatever he wants. Kathleen Kennedy can't, because she's still technically, hired by Lucasfilm. And J.J. Abrams is already out the door, going off to DC Warner to destroy another franchise. But it's fascinating to watch him just say, "Well, it wasn't my fault. I was forced to write this story. I couldn't. I wanted to save Star Wars, but the corporation made me do it." The guy is I've never liked J.J. Abrams, but more and more people who are kind of pseudo fans are starting to understand. Like you said, he's a hired gun. He has no principles. He is greed beyond belief. And somehow it's amazing in Hollywood how you can fall upwards, how you can keep screwing up. Robert Kurtzman is another one.
No, it's the same as politics. It's when you prove yourself to be a hired gun for whatever, and they pull you off the shelf and use you whenever they feel like it. What makes you think these guys are any different than some congressman or something? That's what they do. They're there to, enact change and enact public opinion.
The frustrating thing, though, is that the people who are pulling the strings to allow them to do that, it's just fascinating is that you can be so powerful and have so much influence running a company or what have you, and not even understand at all the property that you have. And I think honestly, Ernie, like you said, it's politics. I mean, you ran into this. I know you're going to probably go off on a tangent on this, but it's sort of like with the Ron Paul revolution. The Ron Paul people saw this groundswell of support. People like the Levolution, and they tried to quell it. They tried to stop it. They didn't understand the movement that they had. And that's exactly what the Star Wars thing is that the people running it took it over. These are like fraternity, frat boys that just made money with business skills and running franchises, supposedly. They come in, they take over a franchise. They have no idea. They've never read the comics. They've never really watched the movies, maybe more than once or twice. They have no understanding about the lore or the continuity or the canon. To them, it's just a property that they can exploit because all the geeky people that they made fun of and gave wedgies during gym class, those people are the ones that they think are just going to buy whatever slop that they give them. And that is the fight that's going on. It's like Revenge of the Nerds, but it's happening at the corporate level. But it's just astounding how you can be in charge of a property and not even understand it. You can't even understand it. So,
all right. Yeah,
anyway,
Bob wanted to point out something real quick. He's been paying attention now, and all of a sudden he's like got some miners out and solar powered of something, and all of a sudden what happened, Bob?
I've just been watching Bitcoin Cash, trying to understand why it's up 25% today, 17% yesterday, and it was some phenomenal multi-teen number a couple of days ago.
I just put up in less than a month. I had it up right here. What is it? It was on at its low. It was 154. When was this? December. So it's as low no, it went even lower than that. 82.21. Bitcoin Cash, $82 in the middle of December.
Yeah.
Now it's middle of January, and it's what?
Well, I got up. It's like 3:30
or something.
I just texted Mr. Weber. He says BSV is up 50%.
What, Satoshi Vision or whatever? Yeah. This is because
Ernie, have you had Tim on the air recently? What does Tim think about it?
I haven't. I don't know when Donna's got him scheduled next. But because it does this all the time. It shoots up. When it was down below 200, what was I screaming? Bye, 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 bye. Well, I knew it was going. But I got some silver anyway because I know where it's going too. Who is that?
That's my phone. I ain't figured out how to use it. It's my new phone, and it's driving me nuts.
So. Well, who's calling?
Well, it's nobody's calling. It's I'm getting a text. It's Lon, and he's talking about his
stuff.
stuff.
Okay. Is he listening or something? All right. What does he say?
All right, Arnie, I have to get going. Have yourself a great day. Bob, it's great you're there as well.
Oh, yeah, real quick. Shep Smith from Fox is going to MSNBC. What say you?
Oh, well, I knew he was leaving.
He's MSNBC now.
Oh, wow. That's
Well, was Shep Smith one of you guys or not?
One of my guys. What do you mean?
I don't know. All Trump up or
no. Oh, gosh, no. You never knew the story of Shep?
Oh,
no?
I'm sorry. I'd be embarrassed if I did.
Well, I don't know much, but let me just first off, he's gay. He's openly gay, and for the credit of Fox, he came out of the closet while working at Fox. And Roger Ailes, he supported him, and Roger Ailes, despite all the evil things that he's accused of doing, even people like Megyn Kelly admit that he's got a good side and he supports his people, and that's why that whole thing is so dubious, because good people can do bad things, and I think that was kind of the moral of that movie. And
He's like,
with
hey,
sexual
you want
harassment,
to be one of my anchor babes? You gotta show how
you gotta
your
twirl.
loyalty.
You gotta twirl.
It's Equal Opportunities Network here.
Hey,
Shep.
man.
Yeah.
Hey, Chef.
You have to, you have to twirl.
Can
Hey,
you
what
do
if
it with
Shep had a twirl?
enthusiasm?
Yeah, what if Shep had a twirl in the office?
Yeah,
but anyway,
it wasn't like Shep had to come out. I mean, really?
yeah, oh jeez. So anyway, so he to be openly gay and be on Fox News as one of their prime guys during the day for the main news. That's I think a good credibility for Fox. Well, anyway, when Trump won, it was. I hear you laughing, Ernie.
No, your standards are, it's that. Fox is good because they let gay guys. I'm like, well, that's only criteria.
Well, I'm saying
shit.
as far as the image they try to spin there. So when Trump won, it was interesting that Shep, to his credit though, he bucked the entire Trump train that took over the establishment.
Oh hell,
Fox.
I remember Sean Hannity couldn't stand Trump. Sean Hannity was anti-Trump, right up until he was pro-Trump.
Well, that was it. To his credit. Well, it was pretty early. I was shocked how quickly the Fox hosts from O'Reilly and Sean Hannity. I was surprised how quickly they began to jump on the anti-establishment bandwagon. They were not in the camp for Jeb Bush. I mean,
as soon as they saw Megyn Kelly get her head chopped off.
I mean, no, that was fantastic. Yeah, I know, but I mean, I remember Ernie was supporting Jeb Bush more than Fox News was at that time. Right. So I mean, they were definitely not on the Jeb Bush train. So for Shepard Smith, he was one of the only high-profile hosts on Fox, aside from a Sunday morning guy, which I won't go into. But Paul Chagot, by the way, that guy is a major pro-establishment Republican who's been bashing. It's like the only establishment Republican show left. It's on Sundays, the Paul Chagot show. But anyway, you've got Shepard Smith being anti-Trump and very critical. And every time Trump would tweet or whatever Fox would be saying or spitting in support of Trump, Shepard would always be critical of him. And it shows at least some diversity for Fox News. But anyway, I think the probably the hate mail he was getting, which is unfortunate, was so overwhelming. He goes off to MSNBC. So anyway, hopefully he's happy. What can I tell you?
No, I remember my brother-in-law. He hated CNN, and which by extension meant Glenn Beck. And then Glenn Beck went to Fox, and it was okay. And he had his book on his coffee table along with Hannity and Rush, because he's at Fox now. It's okay. It's all good.
The one last thing with Shepard, probably no one cares about this, but to his credit, what really put him on the map for me was during the Katrina flood of New Orleans, and Shepard Smith was the embedded reporter. I think he volunteered to go there because Shep comes from New Orleans, and it was the most riveting coverage to show him because he knew the city, and he was very passionate. He was very emotional watching his city, turn into this. And that's how I always remember him. That was sort of his shining moment, I think, was the coverage of Katrina. So just wanted to point that out. All right. I'm sure you don't care. All right, well, it's time for me to go. We're talking about good news for Shepard Smith, so I think we've gone to the bout of the barrel here. Time to move on. Bob, go ahead and take over now. You can talk about Bitcoin and the rest. I have to go. It was nice again. Thanks for having me on, Ernie. And I'm sure if Trump's still president, we'll have something to talk about next week.
All right, still, maybe. All right. Peace, brother. Bye. Wow. Trump. So what's going on with you?
Not too much. I was listening to the show on the way in, and you're talking about pronouns, and I've decided
what yours is.
Mine is going to be demigod.
Demigod.
So from now on, it's
just
not Mr.
Demigod.
It's Demigod Anderson.
No, I want to be demiguy.
Demiguy. There you go.
There was that. Oh yeah, it was that T-shirt that Jay had. Remember? No, it was the guy at the party.
Yeah.
And it was
I'm a demi-dad.
Yeah, I'm a demi-dad. You're welcome.
Yeah, exactly.
I think. I think
if I can self-identify as something, that's what it's going to be.
Yeah, I saw Corsair last night. It was pretty fun. Easton's little birthday when they had the baby shower, which we're having a baby shower. The February 8th or something for Kevin. Kevin.
You looked at Greg's memes yet today?
Yeah. Which one?
A baby shower? Never mind.
Oh, yeah. He goes, well, you said you wanted a baby shower, you know, and don't want to go into it. You know, these are not for Freedom's Phoenix memes.
No.
Because I told Greg, I go, Greg, man, if you do these memes, I'll do a special category, just memes. So he did, and I said, yeah, Donna put up his memes. Well, she put all of them up.
It's like, whoa.
And I go, whoa. You know, I don't have time to do it.
Got to have a non-safe for work category.
Right. And I go, hell no.
Some of them are barely safe for human consumption
right.
category.
Right. You know, he's a friend of ours that, you know, it's locker room crap.
I look forward to it every morning. It is the highlight of my morning.
When we were back in Massachusetts at Bob's thing there, we get up in the morning and we're like, hey!
Where are they?
What the hell? Well, see, the thing is that back east, you know, it's later in the day. Well, here, you know, because it's 3 hours from back east or whatever,
right.
You know, it'd be up already, you know, for us when we're getting up. So when we're back east, we're up earlier. We're like, hey, man, you're mucking up with my, you know, my program here. I got to have my memes from according to...
Well, I got to filter through the ones I think I can send to my boys for a laugh of the day that
right.
won't really piss their mother off.
Right.
Because some of them are, you know, father-son can talk about that stuff, but it's, you know...
Well, you know what I did is... for a long time, I was taking, you know, he has a lot of Trump stuff up there and everything. So I was copying those and kind of whittling it down to about half and sending them to Frank. Well, I got tired of doing that. I'm going, look, just get on, you know, and then Greg is saying, yeah, he's been on the list for a while. You know, I go, okay. You know. I think I asked him to do it before. But
they're good. I find... credible kernels of wisdom in there
okay,
amongst
I don't know. Should I put them up? All right, guys. All right, this is after show. So I'll, you know, let me see if I can find. I probably deleted it already. Okay, I'll go into the deleted. This is just today's stuff. Yeah, I hesitate.
There's a few of them that are kind of like,
it's bad. Okay, let's see. Greg Tibnan, no, Frank, Greg. There we go.
Very locker roomish.
All right. It's coming up. Now, yeah, some of these, you know, they're texts, they're just jokes and
access to Hollywood kind of stuff.
12 camels disqualified from Saudi beauty contest in Botox Row. What? 12 camels have been disqualified from Saudi's annual camel beauty contest after receiving, whatever, you know. Okay, stop saying I'm hard to shop for. You know where the liquor store is. I mean, you know, that kind of stuff. You know, just pictures of crap. Crap. Let's see. I haven't seen a taco this shitty since my wife started wiping back to front, and it's from that Ramsey, you know, whatever that yelling chef guy that's always yelling at everybody. Let's see. That's stupid. Oh, here's something. Is this true? I've been hearing that Gwyneth Paltrow came out with a $75 candle called "This Smells Like My Vagina."
Yes, she did.
I'm
not even the least bit interested.
Not even.
Like,
so, what do you guys think it smells like? I'm going with kale and turtle water. Can a star kissed in shame? You know. So it's just.
Yeah. Well, the last thing is actually, if it's a true tweet thing, it's from Starkist. It's got Charlie Tune going, hey, don't get me into this.
Oh yeah, here's it's a meme and it has loving my new Gwyneth Paltrow vagina scented candle, and it has a trout on fire on a plate. You know, ew. And then it's just redneck bunk bed. You know, super duper this and that. Somebody came home and yada yada yada. Yeah, no, they're bad. Okay, what was this? You nutted on my face, and it's just a meme of some housewife yelling or something, and it has this little cat, and it says, "You said you wanted a baby shower."
Oh, that's like a well-known like meme thing.
I know, but why?
It's just she yells something and the cat replies. It's just
yeah, whatever.
I thought that was pretty funny.
Oh, well, it has a space blanket. Not sure if it's a cool space bed sheet or your mom's bed under a black light. It looks like a Jackson Pollock, painting or something from whatever. So you got people. Yeah, it's just this one best. Oh, I like this one. It has a burro in a kissing booth, and it says, "Kissing booth, kiss my ass for $1." You know, I can raise it to $2. It looks like. So it's just crap like that. You know, there's a lot of racist, everything stuff. It's just, one of this
politically
Bridezilla
incorrect.
Bridezilla tells pregnant bridesmaid to have abortion so wedding runs smoothly. I mean, there's a lot. What kind of whiskey do seals like? Anything but Canadian Club.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of crap. It's it's a little boy talking to his mother. Mommy, how can you live without eating? She goes, what do you mean? I eat every day. Well, I heard Daddy tell his friend you haven't swallowed since college. So it's that kind of crap. It's just potty humor, 5th grade crap. But some of them are pretty freaking funny. He gets on a trend here sometimes. So now that you're back home, what kind of crap was waiting on you? All the stuff you had to do.
Well, I'm in the my primary generator died.
Oh, the big one, the Isuzu?
Yeah, well, I got another big Isuzu, but, so for a week or so, we were doing the old, you have to get up in the middle of the night, go turn it off or turn it on, that kind of thing. So
what do you mean it died? The switch died?
No. I mean, it just it started having a low oil pressure error that I can't figure out, and I think it's legitimate oil pressure issues. So I think it's time for the generator to get torn down. So I mean, that generator is out until I either take it all apart and figure out what's wrong with it or get another one. So I'm on my spare one, but the spare one didn't have the little computer set up for it that would auto start it and all that stuff. So I spent a fair portion of time running wire from the one thing into the other and taking all the protective circuitry apart and connecting it up so it would do the auto start thing. And
this is thing. Bob, knows how to like schematics and wire diagrams if he actually knows what it says.
Yeah, so that's
kind
of what I was
Bob.
doing, connecting relays up to the right computer set point so that the generator would auto start. And I finished that last week, so it was like, yay. So that took a big burden off.
Well, what's your backup? What is it? You mean your propane thing?
Well, no, I don't have that propane generator anymore. It's just another diesel. But
is it in the same room?
Well, it's with a blue one used to be. That propane, it's not. It's a diesel in there. It's been in there for a couple of years.
Whatever.
You need to get out to the property, scope
it
out,
you probably showed me. I just like more crap. It's just Bob making electricity.
Yeah, so
he has backup and backup and backup.
Right, and so I've been running
solar, windmill, batteries.
Yeah, did that when been playing with the bat, just catching up on the stuff I didn't do. I started filling my big water tank so it'll be ready for the summer. Started because Mike really wasn't doing that because I hadn't told him to. So getting that ready so make sure that's all filled by summer. I got to go and so we're either going to buy a generator, or take this other one apart and try to fix it. We got to do that in the next week or so. Just that kind of stuff. I need to get with Tim. I need to talk to him a little bit about some stuff. And
you better hurry up. I'm gonna make so much fun of you, man.
No, I'm not. It's not even got to do with the crypto. Oh, that would be okay.
Well, I mean, something. Get out of the freaking and it's gone.
Well, I'm getting out of that and into airplanes, and that kind of stuff. So.
Oh yeah, you're gonna get an airplane?
Yeah.
Have you found one?
Pretty sure. No, I've been looking though.
I know you keep going. Ooh, look at this one. Look at this one. They all look the same to me.
And I'm looking. I got a particular animal I'm looking for, and it'll eventually show its face, and then I'll get it.
You're gonna get a 235 whatever Lycombe Cherokee blah blah blah.
Yeah, I need to get something either a 180 or a 235. I'd like the 235 if it's the right plane, but I'd go for a 180 if it's the right plane.
Well, you need to get the bigger engine. Your boys are like. Men now.
Well, the 180 is a pretty good size engine. I mean, that'll go, but not as good as a 235. But with the 180 will go. But mostly, I need it so that I can use it as an instrument trainer for the boys. So it's got to have the right stuff in it.
Well, that'd be cool because a lot of the rental time is in the plane.
Right.
I mean, all the money.
Well, that's right. If they're going to do what at least Danny's talking about doing, he's going to spend a fair portion of time behind the.
Can you imagine being a 16-year-old teenager that can solo and you have a plane? Why don't you just give him a bottle of whiskey while you're at it? I mean,
Yeah, it's...
What do you think? Are you feeling good about that?
I have my apprehension. I have my apprehension.
Oh, man, the conversation. He has to have... You put... No.
Dad has the keys.
No. Dad has the GoPro. It is up. I want to see everything. You're even the least little bit of little bit to little bit of little bit, and that privilege would be gone. Would you ever let him? I don't know, man. That's man. You're really
well. He's going to
nice
be more than 16 by the time he gets to the point where he's like flying by himself. He'll be 17, and then by the time he'll do some between 16 and 17 as he gets his license, but he won't be able to take passengers or anything with him until he's 17 at least. He's risking himself, but also the plane. I mean, it's like, son, I'd rather you not die and take my plane down with you. I just keep reminding him, if you screw it up, it's going to be your inheritance.
Right. All right, here's one of the stories. I'm going through the stories, putting them up. I have staff put them up and everything, like multitasking here. The robots are coming, and they are going to take over millions of jobs. So you being in the nuclear power industry and, refueling and changing out there at the plant, if they designed it such, could you have, like, Homer Simpson running a nuclear plant eventually, or that's like, no, that ain't going to happen?
I mean, there's a lot of robotics out there right now. I mean, a lot of it's done by computer, and it's just, it's much like, there's a lot of parallels between that and the aviation industry. It really is. I mean,
what do you mean?
There's a lot of automation, but it's always supervised by knowledgeable humans, right? So, I mean, they're always somebody looking over the computer's shoulder to make sure it's, hasn't gone sentient and decided to take us all out or something. So it's the same in aviation. I mean, they say the planes right now, they can basically, take off, land themselves, fly the whole route. It's all programmed in. But you're never going to see automated flight without a human being in the cockpit. Because what do you do when the thing, has the blue screen of death, right? I mean,
they don't care.
It happens.
They'll reboot as you're spiraling in.
Yeah, I'm thinking, like I say, there'll always be somebody sitting back there with a little, bar, little four-stripe bar on their shoulders, and they'll just be sitting there watching the plane. They're already.
You're
doing
so full of crap. This is what Bob always says. No flying cars. There'll be sheet metal and bodies, raining down on unless they are automated robot planes. Then you go, nope. There'll always be a guy. We'll pick, man.
Because when you're doing commercial transportation with hundreds of people in the aluminum tube traveling at 500 miles an hour. There will be a human watching it, guaranteed.
Wow.
For the foreseeable future, I can't see them making that decision that we don't have to have a human there.
Milwaukee will burn if Sanders loses nomination.
Good.
And I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm whatever. All right. So what's your thing on this line? All right, this is what Bob's doing to help me out. We'll get him committed here on radio. Can I put my storage containers on your property out there for the year?
I would think so.
Okay.
But we need to talk.
Yeah, we need to talk about where and how and what's the deal and kind of when does it become yours and,
Yeah. Well, there's some things I found out talking to my kids we'll talk about off the air that it can have impacts. That
Really?
I was unaware of. Government.
Whatever.
All
right. So
if it pleases the crown, may I do with my own land as I please?
Yeah,
Kinda
no.
thing.
Oh, here. This is. We had it up on the site and put this one right here. How the UN's Agenda 21 influences every aspect of society. Now, this is kind of, now this was done in August 15th. April 15th. August 15th, 2015. So this is 5 years ago, 4.5, whatever. So 5 years ago, she went through this whole thing of, she pulled the thread and she found, and Scott, from South down here sent this to me. And he goes, Ernie, here might be the answer to your occupancy permit thing. And I've got like halfway through it and I'm going, wow, it was exactly what I thought. It was intentional.
Absolutely.
It is like you are not allowed to kind of and part of their UN blah, blah, blah is they understand they have to separate the individual from their property. You do not have total control. You're not allowed kind of, getting your storage container house with everything a body need gruel next to the light rail project. I mean, I can see this is intentional.
Soylent Green is made of people.
It's people. So this is going to be an interesting year. I want to be out in the middle of this one because we can't. So I'm thinking.
Oh, I'm waiting for the Supreme Court ruling. Somebody finally takes it up there and go, hey, you said homeless people can live on the sidewalk. I can't live on my land.
Nope.
Same tent.
Nope.
I promise I'll even crap outside where everyone can see it. But I can do that in the middle of the city, but I can't do it on my own property. Their head's gonna explode when they have to try to unravel that freaking Gordian knot.
Yeah, no, I'm all over it. I love that one. I'm gonna have all kinds of fun with that. Well, the Davi comes today. So I go this afternoon and go get him. Are we going to work on the laser a little bit today?
If we get it done before 1:30.
All right, we got to go then because we got to work on some laser.
Because at 1:30 I got to go pick up my boy. We're going to ground school.
Do you go through the ground school with him?
I sit in the back of the classroom and absorb what I can and fill in where I think he needs to have a little filling in.
Yeah. Do you remember all your slide rule crap?
Oh yeah.
Don't they have electronic means of that? Or
yeah, nobody uses the whiz wheel anymore. Everybody's got
they need
little
to know how
calculator things. Not really.
Technology goes out.
Nah, it's nobody really. I mean, the whiz wheel's still there. They'll teach it. It's in the books, but nobody uses it. And I don't think you have required to use it in the test. In fact, there's a calculator that Sporties puts out that is you're allowed to use during your written exam.
God, it's just like with scuba diving. You have your, watches, your gauges, and your computer. It's a dive computer,
right?
So that you get your, but you really need to know how it works,
right?
So that give me some paper. I don't want to die. I don't think it's right.
Yeah, you want to be able to see. There's always got to be a human watching the computer in case there's a syntax error or you put the decimal in the wrong place.
Well, somebody did the programming.
Ask Boeing how that worked out.
Yeah, I was like, all these people died. Well, they have decimals in the wrong place.
Yeah, the rocket almost made it till we told it to go. Oops.
Oh, did you see that one?
Oh yeah,
that was the most recent. Who was that? That was Boeing sending up. That was a ULA or something.
Starliner. No, that was their like, hey, we're gonna go up there and practice like we were sending humans to space, and the rocket got up there and then
missed
because they had the timer set wrong. Oops, somebody put the
it didn't make it
the wrong time. Yeah, and by the time they figured out what was wrong,
SpaceX.
Yeah, by the time they did that,
right.
Yeah, and now NASA's going, well, maybe they don't really need to do that. And, we'll still put humans in it. They are NASA's so in the bag for Boeing. It is not funny. I mean, they're basically allowing them to skip all kinds of stuff.
They had extra shit on SpaceX.
Max? Oh yeah,
SpaceX. They made up tests and crap for them to do.
Yeah,
and
for half the money, and they're behind the scenes. Since Boeing is the military-industrial complex, does not do anything unless they have $10,000 hammers. They're giving them extra money under the table, and they're behind schedule, and it's. But you watch.
Yeah, they were supposed to launch this year, and now they're looking at 23 or who cares? Screw them.
Oh, the space launch system. Yeah, I'll be willing to bet that never launches more than once.
Now they'll do it once, just say they did.
Well, yeah.
And then they'll figure out all the costs because they don't save anything.
Oh, they're talking about it like each flight's going to be $1 billion.
It's just stupid.
It's way stupid. Because they're going, for the same amount of weight into orbit that they can basically, the same amount of money they can send.
A hammer for that new phone.
Yeah, they can send a couple of heavies. Falcon Heavies up and put the same amount of weight in orbit that they could with this space launch system, and so they're going why are we doing this? And
because they want to have their own secret. Somebody get something vote or somebody for something. I have no idea.
They're saying they're calling it the Senate launch system because it's nobody wants to kill the program because it's big time pork barrel for really a lot of important senators.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Can I add my name? It's such a waste.
It is.
This crap.
The amount of money they could, for the amount of money for one of these space launch systems, they could probably launch 100 Falcon Heavies.
Damn. We have, okay, I want to finish up on what are some of the issues that we could, this is what's going on. Today, I think the Jay takes the bus up to his property today or tomorrow.
Oh, excellent.
So that's all done. They're doing the transfers of we got it all.
So you locked it in. You're going to get it.
Done.
He's going to get up the property and go through it. Excellent.
Supposed to be today.
I think he'll be pleased.
Well, you've actually laid hands on and touched and rubbed it. Donna wants to change the couches and the bed mattress and order a roll-up explode on the bed thing.
Yeah, the mattress. That's
That's just because women. But I want to get a better interview couch and set up the lights and studio thing. That's all I'm going to do when I go back. I'm going to go. Davies comes in this afternoon. He leaves the weekend, like the 2nd or 3rd, because he's going to be here probably at least 2-3 days, more than when I leave to go back to New Hampshire for Liberty for him, because he wants to.
When's that?
Thursday or Friday, before the weekend of the 2nd or 1st or something like
February?
that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's way too soon for me to go back.
Yeah, no. Well, and then the following Friday I come back on the 7th or 8th or just turn the ringer off.
It's like it's killing me.
Well, you want me to show you, Donna?
I did it.
Show Bob how to turn off the sound.
The phone won't ring for a day. I sit someplace where I want it to be quiet for everybody and their brother. It's like, let's call
probably
him
because
out.
Lon's listening.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't even know who that was.
Then just get him on the phone. It's 602-264-2800, Lon. 602-264-2800. 264-2800. Then everybody else call in.
Yeah. We'll see.
But because I see the light, because we don't have it ringing, of course, but I can see the light, and I just I can't. I don't have a board op to screen the calls. Because you screen your calls. I mean, I take them in order. I used to just take them in order, but I screen them. And they go, Nazi, 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 Nazi. I mean, whatever. I just whatever.
That'd be demi-Nazi to you.
You're welcome. There's so much stuff to do. We need to call it, because I got to get to work here. But it's good to be here. We have the laser in there. It's a K40 that we put in my reloading room in there. And now's a good time for us to start setting it up to make stuff. And Bob knows how to do it, because we had it back east and him doing it. And we got some cool stuff that we're out of now. Yeah, where's all the material? Did you bring back little pieces of wood and stuff? Or did you keep all that crap?
No. I didn't keep it, and I didn't bring it back. I used most of it. All the
it might be something we could go, buy a bunch of crap.
All the coaster stuff I did, I went and bought like a 5x4 sheet of that 1/8-inch birch and took it down to the table saw and stripped it into strips that were big enough for me to put in the laser, and I used that. All that wood that we burned.
Yeah.
It was such you got to play with it more. I mean,
Okay, well, you can show me. We'll talk about it. I can talk about it after he shows me. Because I just got it to where it was just burning we got it burning when I left. Did you burn through anything there? I don't think you did.
Yeah, I can't remember whether I cut stuff with it or
not.
not.
we're that's another toy I got to use before we go. It'd be nice to always have that available to do some stuff. You might wind up with that. Yeah, I got
an empty table.
I know you do. You're going to get some of my best crap. I was telling the boys, all the stuff we're going to start distributing everything to everybody. And big thing is that copier there. We had need a repair done on it. And after doing all this stuff, we got to get that done and put that in storage. It's nice that. How many years have we begging to get that?
Oh yeah, no, that's awesome.
The Ricoh collating color, super duper professional kick ass. We've needed that for ever, all our activism stuff. Finally got it.
Yeah, way better than the AB Dick 360.
I know, that's such a pain in the ass. But this it costs, but we can do some quality stuff. Well, we got a bunch of stuff coming up. We're going to be doing some activism, and a lot of that is right now we need to get the laser thing set up so we can start mass producing and get some stuff to some subscribers. I want to get them, so we'll get on that. All right, peace, guys.